And welcome into the Tuesday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Hope everybody's off to a marvelous start of this cold Tuesday morning. Joe Rexrode, how we doing? What's going on?
Well, I just want to apologize in advance for my performance today. It's going to be bad. I might swear. I might fall asleep. I also might I might have to take some more heartburn medicine. I've set a record for heartburn medicine overnight. If anybody out there has any ideas, and also let me know if I'm going to die if I'm ripping my stomach lining by taking 3 Pepsids in 1 hour.
We need your medical advice.
Yeah,
on our
it's
text
not
line.
gout. So there we go.
Yeah, we're gout free.
Yeah,
on the program this morning.
Yeah, so get excited.
Get excited about that. We'll take your medical advice for Rexrode at 615-737-1025 on our text line. It's sorely needed, so give it to us. we need as much as we can get.
No free ads, but I guess it would be the opposite of an ad. But man, there's a spicy chicken at a certain Chinese food chain that actually is really good, but I mean, it might be bad. Or it might just be my issues. Might be underlying issues that are just being activated by this. But, it's insane, man. I'm going to be awful today.
Well, hey, we're establishing the rules right now. At least you know heading into the program today.
That's
you know how it's going to be.
That's right.
Ian,
get ready.
Congratulations are in order to you, our Robby and Rexrode Fantasy Football League champion, Ian Safar.
Yes, we are.
Look at him. He's ready to go with that, too.
Hey, one and done.
Well done, Ian.
Well, appreciate it. Hey, it's fun. I don't usually win fantasy, so I guess I got lucky this year. But
I don't usually win. You guys suck.
No, mostly luck.
Wow.
But yeah, hey, I picked the week to not play Robby since he would have outscored me. So that's how it goes in fantasy.
Yep.
Get a little lucky here and there. But yeah, so it's fun being part of the league. So thanks.
This is definitely the first time this has happened where the three of us, Ian's in first, Rexrode finished second, I finished third. Definitely the first time the 3 members of the show have been in the top 3.
Yeah. No, that's speaks kind of poorly of the people who got in the league this year. But hey, I also, now that you mention it, here's my championship for the athletic right here.
There you go.
So we're both champs.
Well, I won my money league this year. So all
there
3
you
of us.
go. We're all champs.
Champs, baby.
How about it?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We must be smart. We must be smart.
Not bad.
Done.
So we'll have the Robby and Rexrode Fantasy Football League again next year, and spots are wide open.
That's right.
No protected spot.
Nobody coming back. Brand new rebuilding year.
Man, kick Kuharski out. He was not very good this year. Not very good.
Yeah, we might.
I don't know. I kind of like having a tomato can in the league. Get a free win.
Need one freebie.
Him and Brennan. Keep them in there.
And I remember after the draft, too, Carl. I'm going to destroy you guys.
Yeah.
The pick of the draft, Darren Waller.
Good God. He did do that, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, he talks a lot of trash on draft night.
He does. That was the last time we heard from him, I think, in the fantasy league. So congratulations to Ian Safar.
Well done, Ian.
Very well done.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
We got a lot going on the program today. Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel will be with us at 7 o'clock. We'll get into the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl with him and the offseason upcoming for the Tennessee football team, which, by the way, congratulations to Tennessee and Illinois, who will be playing in the Ice Bowl today here in Nashville. It's going to be very cold out there, but we'll see how that goes.
We like the Pinstripe Bowl around here.
There will be, yeah. Charles Robinson, normally with us on Thursdays, will be with us today at 8 o'clock for his weekly visit, getting into the Titans and all things NFL with him. So looking forward to that. Joe, a big-time game last night in terms of the result and what this could mean for the playoff picture in the NFC. You know, the Rams stumbling a little bit heading into the playoffs when it comes to the last couple of games. There was a classic game 2 weeks ago between them and the Seahawks. And then last night they lose 27-24 to the Atlanta Falcons. Not a great loss there for the LA Rams, which means when you look at the playoff stuff in the NFC, Rams are now the 6th seed. They were the 1 seed a couple weeks ago. They're now down to the 6th seed, and Seattle has clinched their spot over them. Now they got a huge game coming up against the 49ers that will decide that division. So, looking ahead to this weekend, you've got that game coming up. You've got Pittsburgh, Baltimore, obviously, and then I guess the one that fewer people are excited about, Carolina and Tampa Bay also deciding the NFC South. So we got some big games coming up this weekend in the NFL.
Yeah, well, and the thing about the Carolina-Tampa Bay game is with Captain Kirk and Atlanta winning last night, if Tampa Bay wins – that's right. If Tampa Bay wins, but Atlanta beats New Orleans, Tampa Bay still doesn't win. So they have to have Atlanta lose along with them winning, because a 3-way tie, they're screwed. So, but, if we could eliminate, you want to eliminate people from the college playoff. Why can't we get rid of the NFC South? Are they not the group of 5? Okay. I'd like to.
None of those teams need to be in the playoffs.
If we could at least host a game.
Who could we?
Definitely don't need to be hosting a game.
Of course, the thing is, I'm looking at the rest of the NFC, and there's no one I'd want to put in either. Like
the Lions.
No, the Lions. I apologize for being too optimistic when I said they'd be 9-8 this year. By the way, I said they missed the playoffs. That was accurate, but 9-8, wrong.
9-8 is still on the table.
Well, yeah,
it's still on the table.
I guess are the Bears going to sit their people?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
how important is the
2 versus
the difference
the 3?
between the 2 and the 3 to Chicago?
So the 2 means playing the Packers.
Yep.
The 3 means playing the Rams. God, you know what? I think I might sit people. Even though the Rams are a very scary 6 seed, but the Packers are a scary 7 seed. I don't know, man. Something about that Packers. If I'm the Bears, I would not want to try to beat them a 3rd time.
I want it.
Yeah, I know you want it. Yeah, I think if I'm them, I'm going to sit people and be just fine being the 3 and take on the Rams.
Yeah. And then I forget who Philly has this weekend. Maybe Washington.
I think that's right. Yes.
So,
and of course they lose the tiebreaker to the Bears.
Yeah.
But yeah, Seattle, San Fran. San Fran could be sitting there with an opportunity to just play in their home stadium all the way through to the end. Still not sure that they have the defense. Now, Fred Warner apparently could get back for the title game.
Yep.
If they get there, but boy, their defense is it's not vintage Niners defense. Their offense, though, is a wagon right now.
I tell you what, Saturday night, 7:00, Seattle, San Francisco, that'd be fun. I'm looking forward to that, man. That's going to be a fun game. And I would probably give the edge to Seattle because of their defense and how good that defense is. And I know the Rams put up a ton of points and a ton of yards on them last week, so maybe San Francisco does too. But when that defense is at their highest level, they are pretty darn good. Look, I give him credit. Sam Darnold, back-to-back years, they win a lot of games in the regular season with Sam Darnold as your quarterback, and we'll see how it goes come playoff time.
Yeah, and he's one of the big individual storylines is, whether he can step up and prove himself in the biggest moments. Starting with this one at San Fran. What the heck? What happened in the first meeting, by the way? So Seattle beat them. Is that right? Oh no, they lost. That was all the way.
Week 1.
Such a weird, like you have these schedules where you have the week 1 and week 18.
Yeah,
and then 2 out of 3 weeks. But yeah, all the way back then, Darnold threw for 150, and the Niners won 17-13 in Seattle. So, boy, I don't see
this one could be a little bit more high scoring.
I don't see Darnold throwing for 150 and only scoring 13 points in this one. But yeah, Darnold's one of the big, big individual storylines coming up.
Look, and Purdy, Brock Purdy is playing great right now. Like the 3-week run that he's on at the moment is insane. And that game includes the Titans, but he's only played in 8 games this year. He's thrown 20 touchdown passes. When he's been out there, they are pretty explosive offensively. And like I said, the last 3 games, starting with the Titans game, he threw for 295 and 3 touchdowns, threw for 295 and 5 touchdowns against the Colts, and 303 and 3 touchdowns against the Bears this past weekend. He's turned the ball over twice during that stretch. He's playing great.
No, he's doing everything well, running around, making plays. He's better than I think he keeps getting better, and I've always thought, he's good. You can win. Again, that's a guy who I think in the previous years with the Niners, it's like he's a good quarterback. He's not great. He may never be great, but here you go. You can win a championship, or you can get right there with a team like that and a good quarterback who can just operate an offense like that. But I think now he's becoming more of a difference maker and a guy who just makes some plays that are special. And that makes them pretty scary. I mean, they went up and down the Bears aren't a great defensive team, but they're not terrible. They've had a pretty their defense is milling. It's fine. It's solid. And they didn't have Kittle, and they just tore them apart.
Yeah. It looks like Denver is going to get the 1 seed in the AFC. They've got the tiebreaker at the moment. They're taking on the Chargers this weekend, but Herbert's not going to play. They're sitting down Herbert this weekend. So the Justin Herbertless Chargers trying to take down Denver. It is wild. Like I think New England's going to win this weekend too. They're at home against Miami. You could have a 14-3 Patriots team in Vrabel's first year that does not get the 1 seed. They have to be the 2 seed to start the playoffs
because they lost to the Raiders. The Raiders. No, it's wild. And does Harbaugh does he hate Vrabel or something? Does Harbaugh have an issue with the Vrabel?
I don't know.
Is that
Maybe.
what he's doing here? No, that's too bad. I mean, it's just too bad that game is probably just decided because of that. That would be a good game. So that'll leave. So that leaves the Chargers with what? What are they going to have then? I guess they just don't have. Because the thing is, they're battling like with Houston.
Yeah, they're 6 right now.
I tell you what,
So they could be 4
it
through
could
6.
be. I will say, I had forgotten this. The backup quarterback for the Chargers is Trey Lance. That could be interesting, just in terms of that one could be all over the map, especially against that defense. Like he might make a few plays in the game where it's like, wow, look at that. And he might turn the ball over 7 times.
Yeah. At least it's kind of fun to just check in on them and see how that looks. Yeah, so it's the 5-7 between Chargers, Houston, and Buffalo.
Yeah.
So you're talking, but that's the thing. The 4 is not. It's just not that attractive if it's Baltimore to me. New England, Jacksonville, going on the road either place. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'd probably rather play Jacksonville. So that would be the higher seed would get Jacksonville, whereas the 7's going to get New England.
Yeah.
But it's not that big of a difference.
No, I mean, like right now the 7's Buffalo, and they beat New England a couple weeks ago. So we'll see what that looks like.
I don't think Vrabel and I don't think Patriots fans
I don't think they want Buffalo.
That to be the first game they play.
Probably not.
That's a real one and done.
Probably not.
Real shot at one and done.
615-737-1025, our phone number. 615-737-1025, off and running on Robby and Rexrode. We'll get into the Titans coming up next. How would you approach the offensive line this offseason if you're Mike Borgonzi trying to weave this roster together? We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. Joe, we have one game remaining in the Titans season, and then it gets into very quickly head coaching search. Got to find a head coach. What's that program going to look like as you move forward here? How are you going to build out your coaching staff? All those things. But there has been a lot of talk about Cam Ward over the last few weeks. And, Joe, I would add to that the offensive line. Not that long ago, I'd say 4 or 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, heavy concern on the offensive line. Heavy concern specifically with J.C. Latham at right tackle. It was not going well. It didn't seem like things were on the up and up in the room just in terms of the team and how they responded to some of the things J.C. Latham was doing out there. You had Zeitler not playing well at right guard. You had Cushenberry not playing all that great at center. And it was like, okay, so you got a right tackle that you're not feeling very good about that was a 7th overall pick. You got a center that you spent a lot of money on to bring in here that has not been great. You got a left tackle in Mandor that that door swings wide open every now and then. You never really know what's going to happen out there. And this is your offensive line contractually for the foreseeable future kind of heading into next year. What are you going to do about it? And to their credit, they have stepped up. They have played better down the final stretch of the season. Now, it wasn't perfect on Sunday against the Saints, and we went through some of the numbers yesterday. There were 8 quarterback hits. I think the Saints got 4 sacks. If you watched it, I thought the protection for the most part was pretty good, and Cam Ward's just kind of buzzing around back there, and he got hit a lot by extending the play. So it is what it is on that front. Overall, I think we would agree. Offensive line has played better down the stretch here. So have they played well enough, Joe, where if you're Mike Borgonzi, you're looking at the offensive line heading into the offseason and you're like, yep, we're good. Maybe I can go find another depth guard to throw in the mix at right guard. Slater, maybe your right guard next year. We'll see what happens on that front. I doubt it's going to be Zeitler, so there's probably at least going to be one change on that offensive line. But how do you feel about the entire state of the offensive line now versus where we did a couple of weeks ago heading into the offseason?
Definitely better. I mean, Latham is going to – I think Latham is at least – he's gotten past the what in the world's going on with this guy stage. I think he's okay. He's fine right now. You need him to be better than that moving forward, but okay, that's right tackle. You're set. You hope that there's definitely, like with a lot of players, like a lot of athletes, you hope that second year off an Achilles is a big difference for Cushenberry, because I don't think you want to mess around and try to deal with that, because like you said, you're going to have to get a right guard. And, Dan Moore is your left tackle next year. It's not great. It's not exciting. I think that, to me, the biggest thing they need to do, because I just don't expect them to draft a tackle high, is they need to try to maybe middle round a tackle, maybe sign someone, if there is someone who's on the young side who could be a swing tackle. They need to bolster the depth there at some point. And really, I guess some point is probably next offseason. They're probably going to have to, okay, you got to make another shot at getting yourself a franchise left tackle, or whatever you want to call it, long-term 10-year left tackle. But I think that you can probably go with this group and address other things this offseason and feel okay about it now. Probably, you probably feel worst about Mandor, right? But like, are you look, if you middle round a tackle and he beats him out, great, right?
Yep.
But yeah, you can't count on that. You're expecting him to start next year.
I just can't watch him play without calling him Mandor. I almost forget what his name is from time to time. Oh yeah, Dan Moore. They'll say Dan Moore on the broadcast. I'm like, who's that? Oh yeah, Mandor. Okay.
Did you think anybody called him Mandor in Pittsburgh?
I don't think
is this
so.
this
is a
we coined this.
This is a Joe Rexrode special. Is what this is.
Too perfect.
It is perfect. I mean, it's.
I always think of the guy from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Hodor.
Yeah.
I know I'm not.
Yeah. It. So
my wife tried to make me watch it.
Yeah. So that's
too much sex. I don't like all the sex, man.
That's what.
Oh, there's a drop. Sorry.
Well, add it to the list.
What'd you say, Hodor?
That's correct.
Okay.
Leave it alone.
Yeah. Wow, interesting. It's gonna be bad today.
Can he play left tackle?
He's built like one. Maybe more like he might be a bit more like a right tackle.
Well, he probably
if you
is.
asked some people.
They said
Body types.
I'm watching the broadcast of it and like Dan Moore down on the play. I'm like, who? Oh yeah, Mandor. That's right.
Why are they mixing his name up? It's like people still calling him Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
No, it's Mariota. It's Door.
Yeah. I mean,
door number 2. Here's a man. It's a quarterback. Hit him.
I mean, I would assume that you're gonna, whether it's in the draft or in free agency, you're gonna target a right guard that has the ability to start. We've talked about this with Kuharski. Like, I know that they're high on Jackson Slater, and maybe Jackson Slater next year steps in after being a 5th round pick and is ready to go to be your starting right guard. That'd be awesome. I don't know that I would plan for that heading into the offseason. Like, who knows? Like, maybe they've watched him behind the scenes and it's like, yep, that guy's going to be ready to go next year. And if that's the case, great. But it is like, I'll take having to go and find potentially a starting right guard, or at least somebody that can compete to be a starting right guard, versus what we were talking about a few weeks ago of, man, what if you get to the end of this year and you're looking at Latham and it's just like, man, I don't think he can do it. Like, I don't think he could be the right tackle for this team. What do you do with that? Because when you add that need to everything else they got going on, to me, that's a disaster. So the fact that he's responded since then and has played as well as he has, thank God, because if he didn't, they'd be in a world of hurt right now on the offensive line heading in the offseason.
Yeah, and I still don't know if you feel all that comfortable, but it's definitely better. You got to feel like, okay, this guy, it's a huge year for him next year, huge offseason for him. And he did do the weight loss, the body was transformed. That's a good sign last season. It just wasn't going well this year. A lot of things weren't going well. He got called out, but he seems to have responded. So, if you could somehow have him have a 3rd season like Skoronski's, boy, you'd be feeling pretty good. You'd have a couple long-term second contract linemen. But I still think he's quite a ways from that.
I would agree. But it is, I think, finally a position group over the last few weeks. I mean, it's been so bad around here on the offensive line. And we've talked about it forever, to the point where people are just gotten sick of talking about it. And the thought of them drafting another offensive lineman high, I think, makes people almost violently ill around here. And I understand it. But we've finally gotten to the point over the last 4 or 5 weeks, and it doesn't mean that I'm convinced they've totally figured it out, where you look at it and it's like, yeah, that looks more like maybe what we thought it could be on paper heading into the year. And I didn't know that we were ever going to get there this year. So you're at least feeling good about that heading into the offseason, provided they don't get absolutely torched on Sunday in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Yeah. Jackson. Well,
which, by the way, the last time they saw them was when we were having a lot of these conversations.
Exactly. When they were coming off that game, it's like, boy, by the way, terrible offensive line. So, yeah, it's actually a good test. Again, this is another situation. Like, are the Jags playing their people?
Oh, they'll be playing. They got to win
because they're playing their people because they are playing for the division.
Yeah, they still hadn't won the division.
Houston still could win the
division.
If
they lose, if the Jags lose and Houston beats Indy, Houston will win.
Wins the division. Yeah. So good test for the Titans for this part of the team in particular, going into the offseason. But yeah, it's like you feel like they could be a decent offensive line next year, and it's been a long time since that's been the case.
No doubt. Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Blaine to the program. Blaine, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, guys. Got a few things. First off, I know we're not going to probably draft in the 1st or 2nd round anybody in the defensive backfield. Who are we targeting in free agency, in your opinion? And secondly, I told you about the Battle of National High School Tournament yesterday. It was unbelievable. D1 commits everywhere. Plaster was there. It was so much fun, and you guys need to come out today. And one more thing, if you're a betting man, I have a Super Bowl matchup that pays 50-1. Texans over 49ers pays 50-1 on FanDuel. So those are my 3 thoughts for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Blaine. Appreciate it. Plain covering all things on the map
there.
there.
Okay.
I don't hate those picks actually.
No, that
Texans Niners, yeah.
Texans Niners is
They're
not,
both very hot right now.
They are.
Yeah. Texans defense. That's not bad. So he was asking targeting specifically for
Defensive.
DBs,
Yeah.
cornerbacks.
I mean, Alontae Taylor, free agent coming up this year.
He looked good the other day.
I would assume the Saints
Vol,
going to find a way to keep him.
VFL.
I mean, I would hope the Saints probably going to find a way to keep him, but yeah,
Yeah, but
technically he's free agent coming up.
maybe he'd like to come back to Tennessee.
We'll see.
Anybody else out there good?
I have not looked at the free agent cornerback market yet, but I will look at that.
We will get
Roger McCreary.
We will
Yeah,
get there.
he'll be out there.
Good idea.
Big Raj, come on back in.
They could use him.
Good.
I
615-737-1025, our phone number. We will continue the thoughts on the Tennessee Titans, 615-737-1025. I'll come up with some more names for you. See if you want them on the secondary then coming back from break. Joe Rexrode, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 the game. The number 14 Vanderbilt Commodores taking on number 23 Iowa tomorrow in the ReliaQuest Bowl. Pregame beginning at 9:30 on 94.9 The Fan with kickoff at 11 a.m. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. John, I'm looking at the list right now on the free agent cornerbacks that are currently scheduled to be free agents this year. Alontae Taylor on the list. His projected market value, according to Spot Rack, or however you say this website's name. I've heard Spot Rack. I've heard Spotrack. I have no idea how to say this, but I'm going Spot Rack.
I don't either, really.
What about Spot Track?
We'll go Spot Track. That's what we'll go. His projected market value is about $11 million per year.
Okay.
So, that's just what it says.
Seems high, but that's how it goes.
That's how it goes in the NFL.
Titans gonna have to pay somebody since you got rid of all your corners.
Chidobe Awuzie on this
Hey,
list. Bring him back.
there you go.
Titans are going to have to figure out a way to keep Jalen Armour Davis if they want to do that, who just suffered an injury this past weekend. So
Yeah,
not good for him.
Didn't look like a good one either.
Not either. Eric Stokes is on the list. Then you got a bunch of old dudes like Darius Slay is out there on the list.
Wow.
Yep. Greg Newsome, potentially a free agent. So there's that.
Now he's going to get paid.
Yep. So
they're going to keep him, right?
I mean, I would assume. I mean, there's a billion guys on this list. I think on the list I'm looking at, there's 76. I would say most of them that are good players that you want probably going to get re-signed by their team, and if not, they're either old, coming off an injury. Take your pick of that combination. So, look, there will probably be a couple of corners that get free into free agency that the Titans can go target and bring in. I mean, frankly, there's going to have to be because they're going to have to find 3 starting corners this offseason, unless they're just going to bring L'Jarius Sneed back next year, which I don't think is going to happen. So they're going to have to find a way to land 3 starting cornerbacks some way, somehow this offseason.
Yeah, I have a feeling that next year we're going to be talking about that aspect of the team, assuming they get more competitive in other areas and can actually be a relevant team in the NFL. That might replace offensive line as a thing we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
And again, we're going to go back to, did you have to get rid of both those young guys this year?
Yep.
Seems a little foolish.
I mean,
Jet secondary is booty.
it's not good. It's not good.
Brownlee's there. I mean, he's not making a big difference right now.
But I mean, I think what we've seen, like he can play. He can play. I feel comfortable starting him in an NFL game, and they have nobody right now I would say that about. So
no,
it's just too much to have to do.
I would assume that when you make moves like that, like you've got at least somewhat of a roadmap of a plan in your head of how you're going to attack it this offseason if you're Borgonzi. Like I doubt it's like, well, Brownlee, get him out. McCreary, we'll see you later. And I don't know what we're going to do.
Oh, whoops.
I have no idea what's going to go on at corner out here.
Oh, crap. Sorry about that. Forgot about that.
But, I mean, it might necessitate you taking a corner pretty high that could otherwise be used on like an edge rusher, for instance. I mean, they're both important spots. So, I mean, if the corner is a great player, then go get the corner. I have no problem with that. But I'm just saying, like, I would love in a perfect world, if you're asking me right now, I'd love for the first 2 picks the Titans make this year to be some combination of wide receiver and edge rusher.
Yeah.
But with all they got going on, or I guess for more of a better term, they don't have going on at the cornerback spot right now. I mean, there's some major surgery going to have to be required this offseason.
Yeah, and that may just be like a big board thing. If you got a corner that you like way better than the edge rusher there, do that. But then you're going to get into, I mean, Oladipo, by the way, wasn't he supposed to play? Wasn't he supposed to come back?
I mean, I guess there's a chance this week. I did love Cam Ward after the game. He was going through like the draft picks. He's like, Gunner's getting better, and DK's out there making plays. Alex making plays. He's like, Femi hadn't been playing, but he's getting, he's watching the film. He's getting like the film reps,
mental reps.
Yeah.
Butch Jones.
Like, here we go. We're back at it.
Mental reps. Butch Jones, a Butch Jones special. Butch Jones, bowl winning coach, by the way.
Yeah,
just pointing that out for you.
Good for him.
Oh, and by the way, they're hiring Vandy's QB coach to be their OC.
Good for them.
How about that?
Maybe they'll have fans at the game next year.
Yes, I hope so. Shout out Arkansas State.
Where are the fans? Where are they?
Butch.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yes, he is.
Look, he's lasted there longer than I thought.
Yeah, he's fine.
A couple years ago,
All
it looked
right.
like he's getting ready to get canned from Arkansas State. So
got to give that guy time to build his program, brick by brick program.
Joe, in the AFC South, obviously you've got the Jags coming up this weekend. Jags are in the playoffs. If they take down the Titans, they're going to win the division. Houston, after starting 0-3, is going to make the playoffs. We'll see where they're at, whether it's 5 seed, 7 seed. They sneak up to 3 seed if they win, and Jacksonville loses to the Titans this weekend. My question for you is this. As you're evaluating the path forward for the Titans, do any of the teams in the AFC South right now scare you? I mean, forever, right? It was like, okay, if you're the Titans, you're going to have to find a way to get past Andrew Luck and the Colts, right? It's like they've got Andrew Luck. They cannot beat Andrew Luck. I mean, he just totally kicked their butt for years. For, going back deeper than that, it was like, okay, even when the Titans were in, a little bit of their heyday, it's like, well, you have to deal with Peyton Manning out there. I don't think anything like that exists. Like, certainly the quarterback like that does not exist. Like, Trevor Lawrence is not Peyton Manning. CJ Stroud, as much as people anointed him as a Hall of Famer after his rookie year, he's good. Like, he's not great. Like, he's not some elite player out there. But they're good teams, man, and they're young quarterbacks. And, Trevor Lawrence still, I mean, he's not going anywhere. He's playing good football right now, and he's still like 26 or however old he is. So he's not going anywhere. Do any of these teams scare you moving forward if you're the Tennessee Titans?
Well, the Texans, to me, are the team. I don't know I don't know where Stroud's going. How much is there more to hit his ceiling? Is he going to level off? I don't know. But I still would, like, if you gave me the choice of CJ Stroud or Trevor Lawrence for the next 5 years, I'd pick Stroud. And their defense is absolutely, I mean, it is an elite defense. I watched that game the other night at the Chargers. I know the Chargers have some issues and all that, and they've had the injuries up front, but what they did to just completely bottle up Justin Herbert was awfully. Their pass rush is insane. They're good at all three levels. So that to me is like if they can go out and get themselves another weapon outside and shore up that offensive line and have a little bit better running game. I mean, I think they're not that far away, I think, from being like a legit top 2-3 team in the AFC. So that's the team to me. And I'm very impressed with what Liam Cohen has done with the Jags. Obviously, their defense is really good this year. Trevor Lawrence has played well. I do remember when Doug Peterson came in, and it was like, oh, now he's figured out Trevor Lawrence, and look at them. And, the Titans kind of handed them the division, and then it started to go the wrong way. I'm withholding judgment and total praise, and like, this is going to be great on Cohen. So I think that I just think everything about the Texans is a little bit more advanced and just a little bit better.
It is amazing. Like, I saw, I think it was Andrew Brandt talking about this, like going back to how the Jags brought Liam Cohen in. Remember, he was going through a second interview and he didn't. He was like, "No, I'm good, thanks," because he didn't want to work with Trent Baalke. And then they fired him. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll come in, do the interview." Like, it's a kind of amazing how close that was to not happening, of him being the coach.
If you'll hire that kid who works the drive-through at McDonald's down the street, I will come.
The message there was hire anyone except Trent Baalke,
and I
will be your coach.
To be nothing more than him.
I want that guy. Hey, I don't know, man. The dude,
even without Travis Hunter making a big impact.
Yeah. I mean, to their credit, I thought when they hired the 7-year-old to be the general manager, and I keep joking about that. He's older than me, so I guess I should shut up.
How old is he actually?
I think he's like 35, something like that.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then Cohen, like when Cohen did the Duval stuff to begin that tenure there, I was like, they are screwed. I was like, they have hired
Gooberville
2 bozos to come in there and run their franchise. And look, I'll raise my hand. It looks like I'm dead wrong. Like Cohen, clearly pretty good coach. Now, the other thing I would say about that, Joe, is it's Jacksonville, man. And I've seen this before. 2017, they marched their way to the AFC title game somehow with Blake Bortles. And it was like, wow, look at the Jags. And then they were right back to being the Jags the next year. Doug Peterson comes in his first year. The Titans choke away the division. They get in the playoffs. They're getting hammered by the Chargers. And then they turn it around and win that game, win a playoff game. And it's like, wow, Trevor Lawrence looks like he might end up being what everybody thought he would be, a generational player. and then they went through the wilderness the next few years. So you're still going to have to convince me that the Jags have staying power. I have to see it, I think, before I believe it. But there's no doubt that they've done a really good job in year one.
Yeah, and get Hunter in there, and again, if they make him a corner, I think that defense gets a lot scarier. Use him some on offense, fine, but I mean he's going to be a good player in the league. So no, I mean you have to be impressed. But yes, I just think the Texans. They had the whole thing with all of a sudden, Slowick, he gets fired last year, and there's been some real struggles with that offense, but I feel like they're coming out of that, and I think that's the team to watch in this division. But, yeah, Jacksonville, first of all, I think we can still make fun of them. We can still play the Duval and things like that and have a good time with them. But you have to tip the cap.
Yeah. I mean, they're playing well. I mean, Ian was talking about the Texans.
Duval.
I still can't believe he did that. He was talking about the Texans and Niners being hot. They are. I mean, Jacksonville, right there, they're hot. They're hot heading into the playoffs. We'll see how it goes. Take your thoughts on the AFC South, 615-737-1025. Is there any team looking ahead here for the next couple of years that really scares you if you're a Titans fan in terms of your upward mobility in this division? We'll take your thoughts on that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. 1025 The Game, your home for the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl. That is today. Pregame show starting at 3 o'clock, kickoff at 4:30, Tennessee and Illinois. We'll have Adam Sparks coming up here in just a few minutes, by the way. We'll get into that matchup and some decisions that Tennessee football has to make this offseason. Music City Bowl coverage presented by Pickers Vodka and Beyond the Edge Sports Bar. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Gunner says, Liam Cohen, subject to leave for any job that's a lateral move or definitely a better job. Lane Kiffin, more loyal to jobs than Liam Cohen is. Sounds like a scorned Kentucky fan.
Oh,
Gunner.
Oh, right. Yeah. I got you. I like this answer from Kate out in the YouTube chat. The team that scares me is the Titans. They keep crippling themselves with bad trades and drafting. Well, yeah, that is true. I suppose if your team is bad enough, who cares who's good
True.
in the division? Because it's not you.
Joey from Bellevue says, if Cam makes a significant leap, then heck no, we'll be competitive in all the games. I think that's where I'm at. No, I mean, look, we all understand right now the gap between Houston, Jacksonville, Indy, and the Titans is significant. Now, the Titans are playing better down the stretch here. I'm very interested to see this Sunday a motivated Jacksonville team that has everything to play for still. How do the Titans handle that on the road? I mean, you got that Milky Pool flowing up there. People be buzzing in the stadium. How do you handle that against a team that not that long ago just totally whipped you? And they've talked about that in the locker room, how that game was kind of a turning point of why you've seen them play some better football. Well, we're going to find out on Sunday because you got another shot at it. So I'm very interested to see what Sunday's game looks like here. Having said that, we all know that they got a ton of work to do from a roster perspective to catch up here. But I guess my point is I have not gotten there with either Houston or Jacksonville yet, and certainly Indy, because I have no idea what their quarterback is going to look like moving forward here. You know, I guess if people were talking yesterday about Malik Willis coming in there and he just takes the franchise by storm, maybe we'll reevaluate. But right now, like, I have no idea who's playing quarterback for the Colts next year, and if it's Daniel Jones, how healthy he's going to be. So I'm excluding them from this discussion right now. But, Houston with their defense, that defense ain't going anywhere. It's going to be a problem. They still are not, like, terrifying to me if I'm a Titans fan. Jacksonville is not terrifying to me if I'm a Titans fan, like we've seen at different times throughout this division's history of mainly the quarterback, right? It's like when you're dealing with Peyton Manning,
the Colts.
That's a pretty darn difficult thing to deal with.
Yeah, Manning and Luck. Yeah, I think that's the only way you're terrified is if it's one of those guys. And I guess that's the good news is that Trevor Lawrence is going to be there long-term in Jacksonville and C.J. Stroud is going to be there long-term in Houston, and they're good. But I don't think either of them is going to end up being a superstar. Now, could Cam Ward be as good as those guys? Some fans, Titans fans, will be like, oh, no, that's not good enough. Well, I got news for you. If you get that, you should be happy with it, and he's going to be here a long time.
Yeah.
And that's life for all but a handful of franchises in this league in any era. So, but at least you don't have that guy. Maybe Indy finds that guy. Daniel Jones was really good this year, but yeah, you're also not going to be terrified of Daniel Jones.
No.
By the way, 7-1 to where they are now. Where's that collapse rank? Yeah, I mean, like 7-1, and people talking about like, is this the best team in the league?
Yeah. Well, and then you make those trades,
and then you go all in.
Yeah.
For a guy who doesn't even play, give up a first. Whew. Hey, all right. Well, Chris Ballard, welcome back. I assume he's fine.
I assume he is.
I will say, just like we've given the flowers that the Jags earned, when it was rolling this year, before he made that trade, it was like, Chris Ballard did put together a pretty good football team here.
Yeah.
Quietly. Well, it used to be not quietly. It used to be like, well, this guy's a genius. Hey, he did put together a pretty good football team.
He did.
Just can't figure out the QB.
To me, part of this answer moving forward here, what is Trevor Lawrence moving forward? I feel like we've asked this question a lot over the last few years, but it's been so up and down. It wasn't, it was earlier this year where through the first 5-6 weeks of the year, it was like, all right, so Liam Cohen's in there. They've won a couple games like that. I remember they went on the road in late September and beat San Francisco. And that was when, Cohen and Salah almost fought each other.
I will end you.
I mean, they had some good performances. And then the next week or 2 weeks later, they got crushed by Seattle, crushed by the Rams. Lawrence kind of struggled in those games. And then even later, like the Houston game in early November, it was like, well, Lawrence picking that game didn't look all that great. And then up until this last Colts game where he threw another pick and didn't throw a touchdown in the game, he went on a run where he threw for 229, 2 touchdowns, 244, 2 touchdowns, 335 touchdowns, 279, 3 touchdowns in a 4-week span. Didn't turn the ball over at all during that span. It's like, well, he looks pretty darn good right now. So is that what he's going to be moving forward, or is it just going to be up and down the ladder like it's been with him for the majority of his career?
Yeah, I don't know, but what matters is what's coming up. So that's what's interesting is we get to see him, and he hasn't had many opportunities in postseason. So we get to see that. We get to see Stroud in the postseason, and that's what it's about, right? Can those guys, just like we're looking at Darnold, and it's a huge referendum on him.
Yeah.
So, I suspect it's going to be more ups and downs, but maybe he is at another level. We'll see. We're going to find out in January. I think Neil brings up a good point. He's like, what team in the whole AFC is terrifying to you? There's a lot of good teams. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the top quarterbacks, obviously, in this conference, where it looked like, well, you're not getting past those teams. The Ravens might not get in. The Bills are still scary, and maybe this is the Bills' year. But
they didn't look good the other day.
Until it is, we have to wait and see. And they couldn't gain a yard basically at home against the Eagles, and then obviously Mahomes and the Chiefs are, I don't know.
Well, Burrow, what's going on with him? I have no idea.
Really, honestly, Neil, my answer to you would probably be the Patriots, because Drake May looks like he might be the next guy.
Yeah.
And we know Vrabel's a very good coach, or at least I think most people around here know that. So give that coach a young quarterback who might be a great one. God, it's really, if the Patriots go on another run here, like it's enough already, it really is.
I agree.
But that might be the team. That probably would be my answer at this point.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know if he's going to be like top guy, but he's very good.
He's really good.
He's going to win the MVP, by the way, too, because Stafford just fell off.
I think he is. I think he's going to win the MVP this year. So, does that guarantee success moving forward? No, but I think it does show you how good that guy is. And again, I don't know that there's a team now that Kansas City has been removed from it, and we'll see how they respond in the offseason. I think there's some surgery that they're going to have to do with their roster. They still do have Mahomes, and they've got Reed. So they're going to be in the conversation moving forward. But now that we've seen them have a season like this, the mystique that they've had of, well, you just assume they're going to figure it out at some point. Well, we've finally seen a year where they didn't. And I think that changes how you look at the AFC too.
Yeah, no doubt. And it turns out to be, when people were saying it, I didn't really buy it either. But for the most part, with stuff like that, the close win thing, there normally is a regression. Like, it's just like things end up evening out. And obviously the reality is just there's a lot of things, like they have a lot of holes all of a sudden, And I still think that guy is going to be heard from, and he's going to make more runs and all that stuff. But they've got some work to do to get him back to that point.
We'll have Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel with us coming up next. We'll get into Tennessee. They're in the Music City Bowl today, and they got an interesting offseason coming up as well. We'll get into all that with Sparks coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning. It is finally time for the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl. Tennessee taking on Illinois. And to help us talk more about the Vols, we head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel. Adam, good morning. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. How are things going?
I did. It's sort of weird to be back on Central Time, but I'm here in downtown. It's always weird too to be back in Nashville, but staying in a hotel.
Yeah,
you feel like you're in the guest room in your own house. But is what it is. I'm ready for a game.
The better time zone, right? We can all agree.
It seems more natural. Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
11 a.m. college kickoff.
I like it.
NFL kickoff.
I like it. It's good stuff. So, Adam, what most interests you about today's matchup between Tennessee and Illinois?
Well, is it going to be like the 21 Music City Bowl? I think it was 45, 42, 48, 45, something like that. The overtime game that Tennessee lost to Purdue, because that game was, I think it was like 1,300 yards of total offense combined. 90-something points. The setup to this one is similar to that. You've got two defenses that are missing a number of guys because of opt-outs and injuries. You've got two quarterbacks, that can sling it. They can put up a bunch of points, a bunch of yards. Particularly the secondaries, I think, could be susceptible. That's how it sets up. Now, we've already seen the last couple of weeks. I mean, bowl games are unpredictable. So we could also get a team gets up by 10 and then just sits on the ball and runs it and finishes it out and tries to get to a pretty critical off season as quickly as they can. But the setup of it is it's going to be, a high scoring game. And I'm interested to see the quarterbacks. There's very few bowls. If you think outside of the playoffs, there's very few bowls that have like two top 20 quarterbacks that are both playing, because most of those guys are opted out. Or they're headed to the portal. Both of these guys are here, and there's interesting circumstances of the reason that they're both playing. But we both get them, so we see the two of the best in a bowl game.
So one thing that I do like about this era, even though obviously it stinks sometimes and great players opt out and all that stuff, it does create more opportunity for some guys who in the past it's just like they get to do the bowl practices, but now they're actually playing the game. How about a few guys today, Adam, on the Vols side, who fans haven't seen a ton of, but who may be important going into next year?
Yeah, some guys catching passes and defending passes. That's the freshman that you'll want to look at. At wide receiver, Chris Brazzell opted out. He'll be an early round draft pick, and so you're going to see Radarius Jackson and Travis Smith, two freshman wide receivers. Who played a little. Both have been injured some this year, but the chances are one of those two guys are probably starting next year. And so you'll see both of them today. I think that could affect maybe the coverages that you see with Braylon Staley and Mike Matthews, because those guys have been a little looser in the middle of the field in a good way because there's been so much attention at Brazzell. So I'll be curious to see how that affects the passing game. On the defensive side, Trey Poteet. There could be a couple of freshmen over there, but Trey Poteet especially either will get the start or he'll play, starter snaps at corner with Colton Hood out. And the thing is, Ty Redmond is your other starting corner. He's a freshman. He started almost all year, but that means you're going to have two freshmen back there at corner in a secondary that, was close to the worst. I think it was the worst pass defense in the SEC this year. So I'm sure Luke Altmaier, Illinois quarterback, looked at the film and then looked at the opt-outs and said, I can do something against that defense.
So, Adam, we're just a few days away now from the portal opening. We've kind of bounced this around here on the show in terms of Heupel and quarterback this offseason and what should be done here. You've got, obviously, Merklinger has hit the portal. That's not unexpected here, but you've got Faison Brandon coming in. You've got George McIntyre, who has been basically, a guy that people around here have been very excited about for a long time, but two very young guys at quarterback. So if you're Heupel in what could be a pretty critical year for him next year, how do you handle quarterback? Do you ride and go with one of those two? Do you go be pretty aggressive in the portal and try to bring in a veteran starter? How do you expect things to go here for Tennessee?
Well, the problem they have is they're trying to thread the needle. I mean, coaches are learning. We're all learning how this works every year in the portal and NIL. And some schools are going with we're going to get a highly touted recruit. We're going to start him early. We're going to bring him along, and we're going to live with the consequences of it. Other teams are just saying it's free agency every couple of years. We'll just go get a guy in the portal every 2 years, recycle. Tennessee's trying to do both, and that's the problem. Now, you could say Nico got them a little off schedule that he left, but there was a reasonable chance that he was going to leave in the draft after this year anyway. So they needed to have a plan. They hoped McIntyre would maybe be ready to start as a redshirt freshman, like Nico was. He's not there yet. He's still a little underweight. He's developing. I mean, they like what they see, but I think it looks like they're going to go get a transfer. And I mean, again, when you're threading the needle like that too, then you're going to have a lot of NIL money tied up into a 5-star freshman, a high 4-star redshirt freshman, and then a transfer. I mean, that's millions and millions of dollars tied up in one position where only one guy's playing. But it looks like that's what they're going to do. I mean, that's all signs point to that. I do think if Tennessee had gone 10-2 this year, gotten the playoff, I think it would be a little more palatable to say, let's go into the next year with these young quarterbacks and just see how things go. The fact that they were 8-4 this year, I think puts a little more pressure on Josh Heupel to make sure he's not 8-4 or 7-5 next year. And if he thinks one of those young quarterbacks is going to have enough growing pains that they're going to lose some games, it gets a pretty tough schedule next year. You just can't do that. You got to go get a veteran quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I mean, I think that would have a shot to be the most expensive QB room in all of football. Right? There can't be too many teams, and I don't know. I mean, there's probably some other teams with somewhat similar situations, but to have the recruit of the level of Brandon coming in, a holdover who is a big-time player, and then you're still going out and getting a starter, that is a huge hit to the cap. And maybe this the CSC or whatever are they gonna have an issue? Are the ball's gonna be in? Yeah, they've done a great job of enforcing these.
It's all legitimate.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. So
well, and the added issue to that is Jim Knowles comes in. He needs talent on defense. They knew regardless of who the defensive coordinator was going to be, they were going to have to overhaul a lot of that defense or upgrade it. And so, I mean, you could spend as much money if you're talking about third-party NIL, but you still got to go and find it. And so it's hard if you're going to pay like $4 million for a quarterback when you're already paying a lot for your backups. That you've got to leave some money there to go get at least a safety, a nickelback, maybe another corner, maybe a linebacker, a couple defensive linemen, a running back. So most of the money needs to be spent on the defensive side. And if you're spending high 7 figures at quarterback, that makes it a little tough.
So is there anybody on the quarterback front that you like or think could – I know the Drew Mestamaker kid from North Texas is out there. Byron Brown, I think a lot of people think is just going to go with Alex Golesh to Auburn. But is there anybody who has caught your eye who you think could be a particularly good fit?
Yeah, I mean, you could say any of these guys that are, Hoover at TCU. Sorsby is the obvious one. A lot of people think he's going to go to Texas Tech. Mestamaker is probably going to follow his coach. I mean, that's to say here. We look at all these quarterbacks, and as soon as they announce they're going into the portal, everybody says, "Oh, well, that guy's probably headed to fill in the blank." For one reason or another. Like Sorsby would be the best fit. I'm sure Tennessee, that would be the number one choice out of Cincinnati, but we think he's going to go to Texas Tech. There's a chance he could go to Tennessee. But Texas Tech will be probably the highest spender or one of the highest spenders. Miami's going to spend a lot of money. So you're dealing with that. I'll be curious to see if these guys choose the place that we think they're going to choose. Or if it's a little more unpredictable. There's so many quarterbacks in the transfer market this year that they're all raising the price of each other. But at some point, the pool's going to get diluted. I mean, for the money, Tennessee probably may be better off to go get like a mid-major type guy that worked out with Joey Aguilar. You would get them cheaper. But for now, they're trying everybody else. I mean, the funny thing is when Nico left back in the spring, Tennessee looked around and sort of hoped somebody would jump into the portal that they could get. And a lot of those guys that they looked at back then, including Luke Altmaier, by the way, a lot of those guys, some of those guys are back in the portal now. And so they know those guys already. They've already scouted them, and maybe they get one of them this time with more time and quite a bit of money to spend.
Well, Adam, you mentioned next year and how important it could be for Heupel. I mean, obviously, the last taste Tennessee fans have in their mouths is getting crushed by Vanderbilt at home to close out the season. There's a lot of mad Tennessee fans after that. With the administration and with Danny White, how do you think they're looking at Heupel and the program right now? And how important is next year in terms of getting back into the playoff mix as it relates to his future and where things could go?
Yeah, I mean, the words you don't want to hear is plateau. You don't want to hear stagnant. And those are sort of words with question marks right now with Josh Heupel's program. I mean, if they win today, it would be the winningest 4-year stretch for Tennessee since I think 01 to 04. So coming right off of the national title just 3 years before. It's been they could win 9 games and it's a disappointment. That's good. But it's sort of symbolic that they're in the Music City Bowl because that's where they were Josh Heupel's first year. It looks like a sign that they're going in reverse a little bit now. Now, the thing is, in the portal era, it's not build over a long period of time. It's fix, and you can fix it in one off season. They fired Tim Banks. They're bringing in Jim Knowles. We'll see how that works. They've got a chance in a few days to upgrade their problematic units, which is a lot on defense, and we'll see if they do anything with quarterback. But the offense is back where you wanted it to be. Josh Heupel was built as an offensive guy. It looked great this year. You've just got to fix the problems. And so next year's, it's a pretty pivotal year. They have a hard schedule next year. They had a soft schedule this year. And with that soft schedule, Tennessee I think they were 7-0 against teams with losing records. In the FBS, they were 0-4 against teams with winning records. So they lost all the good teams, they beat all the bad teams. The ETSU was the outlier there, an FCS team. But today, if they win, it's the first win they'll have this year over a team with a winning record. And so you need to get that done because if you don't, you just look like a middling team.
Well, speaking of Vanderbilt, your former beat before you turned traitor and moved to Knoxville.
Yeah, I heard.
Yes,
You heard from a lot of people.
We've got a listener, and we've had a few people ask about this. Why did Tennessee refuse to practice at Vanderbilt, Adam? Is this a controversy brewing? Did Josh Heupel slap Clark Lee's hand away and say, "No, thank you, sir. We're going to BA"?
I mean, they've been at NBA other years. They're in 2016. I think the even years they're at NBA and the odd years, I'm talking about the SEC team, they're at Vanderbilt. So I think this should have been a year that they would be at Vanderbilt. I think what Brett Bielema said is probably accurate. I haven't looked into it, but leading up to the Music City Bowl, we all said they're not really going to go to Vandy, are they? And they didn't. And by the way, if they didn't, good for everybody because that was a little awkward in 21 when they beat Vandy and then we're practicing there. It would be even more awkward now to, I don't know if Diego Pavia is hanging around there, but you don't want to run into the guy during your practice.
Just double middles. He's sitting there looking over the fence.
Heupel looking up, waving to Clark Lee in the window. Hi, Clark.
I did get his package in the mail. It was after the Heisman, unfortunately.
I saw
didn't
that.
check my mail, but I got a 2-turnt hat. I got the T-shirt. I got the towel. I got all the Pavia gear. That's going to go to a friend of ours, I think, today.
Oh, good.
I'm going to donate it.
Oh, Bev's not going to wear that stuff?
Nah. What's funny is we did the Dirty Santa gift giving thing at Christmas, family Christmas. A number of Tennessee fans in the family. And I brought the 2-turnt hat.
Yes.
Somebody opened it and said, "No, thank you. I'll take the I'll take the throw pillow over there.
Does Bev think that Pavia is like spawn of Satan?
I
Long pause.
Yeah, you know how this goes. I keep giving if he was your guy, you would, and before I can get it out, no.
Oh, you are so right. That you would have to win this argument. Oh, you are so right.
He is the Tennessee fans pause on this one, but Vitello. I mean,
exactly.
You hate him, but if he was your guy, Steve Spurrier, if he was your guy, it's a different element with Pavia, but still, if he was your guy, you would love every part of him. By the way,
he'd be the most beloved Vol ever, dude. I mean, after Peyton Manning.
And Pavia is so un-Vandy. I covered Vandy for a long time. He is so un-Vandy, and the fact that Vandy fans are like, that's our guy, that tells you that works at any fan base. If you win, whatever he is, we're for that.
Exactly.
That's right. Adam, enjoy yourself today. Get you some hot chocolate out there. It's going to be cold, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel, our guest here on the program.
We got to get Bev on the show. I love you, Sparks, but we're going to start booking your wife, actually, instead. We got to have this argument with her.
Step aside. We'll react to what Sparks had to say coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. I have the Rex Rant coming up later this hour. Charles Robinson will be with us at 8 o'clock for his weekly visit, normally on Thursdays. We will not be on Thursday this week. It'll be on Tuesday. That's how that works. Appreciate Adam Sparks for being with us in the last segment. As he mentioned, it's we're a few days away, Joe, from a pretty interesting offseason for Tennessee. I mean, the portal opens up, I think, on January the 2nd. So that's right around the corner here. You got the game today. As it's a bowl game, as Adam mentioned, in the playoff era, that's lost a little bit of its luster, and you see players opting out, and Tennessee's had their fair share of players opting out. I am interested to see some of the young guys at wide receiver today. They were really high on those guys, and they got to play a little bit this year, but as he mentioned, got some injuries throughout the year. But, one of those two, I think, are going to be starting next year alongside Matthews and Staley. And, the money part of this is interesting, right? Like, it's a new era of college football. If they go out and they try to get a starter in the portal at quarterback, as you've talked about, that's a lot of money to tie up at that position. You got a lot more people to bring in and money to add, I think, on the defensive side of the ball. And then, Joe, as we know, we're getting ready to get into renegotiation season here in college football too. And I don't know what's going to happen, but it happens every year in college football. If people play better than maybe the expectations were heading into the year, well, they go right back to the negotiation table. And I wonder, like, if you're Matthews or Staley with the year that you just had, you're probably going to Tennessee this offseason and asking for more. So, I think it's important they keep those guys, so you do it. But at some point, you're getting low on the money, I think, if you're Tennessee, with all the money you could be spending this offseason.
Yeah, I guess with Matthews, there was the big thing last year.
Yep.
Like, does that take care of it?
Maybe.
He had a good year, but I guess you wonder if they did enough last year.
Maybe.
I don't know. But yeah,
Staley had a great year. I would imagine whatever Staley got last year is probably going to be coming up this year.
No doubt. Yeah. Now they did lose some. It's not like a positive, but they did lose some players on defense who were really good, who probably got paid a lot.
Did.
So you have that, but yeah, and that's the thing too. When you get into, like Sparks is saying about Brendan Sorsby of Cincinnati, if you're competing with, it's not just like Texas Tech and Cody Campbell, a multi-billionaire, but it's also a team that is like, you're our starter, and like we have to have this guy.
Yeah.
Right. So they're probably going to pay him. I think this year we're probably going to be looking at, $4 or $5 million for some quarterbacks. Now, Pavia says he got offered $4.5 million last year by somebody. Don't know by who. He did say other SEC teams offered him, and he put that number out there. But $4 or $5 million, if you're the Vols and you pay that for one of these guys, plus whatever you're paying the other guys, it's just a lot of money. So then, yeah, you hope, I guess, like Sparks said, you can hope to get lucky with an Aguilar type ad.
Yeah.
That probably isn't, it's more like $1 million or $1.5 million or whatever. But I just, who's out there who's going to fit that bill? Maybe if the Mestamaker kid does actually look around, I don't know.
Well, the philosophical part of this that Sparks brought up is going to be interesting moving forward with what Heupel does, because it does kind of feel like they're trying to do both right now, of threading the needle of recruiting high-level quarterbacks, which there's nothing wrong with that. You recruit high-level quarterbacks, but also, I think everybody reading the room right now understands that they're going to have to win next year, or it's going to get uncomfortable around there. So, the likelihood is, Joe, they're going to lose one of those guys, whether it's Brandon or McIntyre. That's just the way. That's the name of the game in college football right now. So whether it's this year when they go out and get some veteran starter and one of them decides to, that's it, or next year when you have to name one of them the starting quarterback and the other one's like, yeah, all right, I'll see you later. Like, they're going to lose one of them.
Yeah, for sure.
So you've got to, at some point, if you're Heupel, because Sparks is right, we have seen this. There are programs out there, and I think Miami definitely is one of them, where you're looking at it and it's like, yeah, we're just going to go buy a quarterback every offseason. And that's the way they're doing it. There are others that they're still bringing in high-level recruits, and they're letting those guys develop. And then you've got some outliers like Simpson at Alabama, who just sat there for a couple of years, and it worked out really well for him. I think he's probably in the minority of how that's going to go moving forward here. But like philosophically, how you handle trying to manage your quarterback room moving forward, I am very interested to see how Heupel can, if he can thread that needle, or if it's going to require some change in how he approaches it.
Well, I think it's crazy to just be like, we're just going to get in the portal every year, because you might just lose out on option 1, 2, and 3. Look at Tennessee. They got lucky. They lost out on a bunch of guys that they tried to get when Nico left. So, like, to me, you have to be serious every year about getting a big time quarterback if you're going to be one of these top programs. And then you get into, like, how long do you wait? And does this one more year, when the kid's like a whatever second year of a veteran, is that enough to send him packing, or are you okay with maybe a little bit of a shakier year, or gamble a little bit on the younger kid? I think Sparks is probably right. If Tennessee was 10-2, was playing the playoff right now, there's a better chance that you would feel more comfortable, like, okay, it might work out, and then we'll have more money for other stuff. So let's go, McIntyre. And Heupel just obviously can't feel comfortable. He fired his DC. That's another sign. He understands, like, hot seat, that might be a little bit stretching it, but a fan hot seat, he's on it.
Yeah. Well, and the schedule is not friendly next year.
No.
So, I mean, you look at it, and I have no idea. By the time they're playing some of these teams, they could be playing Alabama and their starting quarterback gets hurt. I have no idea what's going on. But like 7-5 very much is on the table next year when you're looking just straight up on paper some of these matchups right now. So I think with the roster, there's a lot of turnover that's going to happen. Like defensively, I'm really interested to see how much different they look next year. Because to me, they need to go out and spend pretty high level money on a safety. Safety, they have been weak for a long time.
Yeah, that's been a bad spot.
They need to go get a safety. They probably need to go get at least one corner, because as Sparks just mentioned, they got some young guys, and I think Redmond got a lot better from where he started to where he ended the year. And they've got some talent with some young kids in that room. But like we know, like Boo Carter's gone, like they're going to have to go find another corner or two as well. So and that's not even factoring in like the 5 guys that they're losing at defensive tackle that have been there forever,
which has been just a constant and a strength for a while. And
there's a lot of work to do.
That's a lot. That's a lot of work. And then you bring in the new DC. High expectations for this guy. If you make a move like that, you expect to snap your fingers and be way better.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Take more of your thoughts on the Vols. Plus, what feels like a season-defining road trip underway for the Nashville Predators, and they got a good response last night. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. Preds remain hot. They go into Utah last night. They get the 4-3 win in a game that was back and forth. Utah dominated portions of it, and the Predators end up coming away with the win anyway. 2 goals in the third period from Steven Stamkos. And by the way, he has scored, I believe, 11 goals in the month of December. He's got 6 game-winning goals since December the 1st, which is the most in NHL history in a month. He ties Johan Franzen, Brian Propp, Mike Bossy, Bernie Geoffrion, and John Beliveau for the most game-winning goals in a month. So Stamkos is rolling right now for the Predators. They have won 11 of their last 16, and he scored 2 late big goals last night here with Steven Stamkos after the 4-3 to win for the Predators against the Utah Mammoth.
That's a good team over there. They move the puck well. They possess the puck a lot. So it's one of those games where you have to come into it knowing that there might be some shifts where they sustain some pressure, and you can't let it get to you. And they certainly did that. But we didn't break. We stuck with it, and we talked about it in the second intermission. Whatever happened in the first 2, it's over. We got a chance to come out and just play solid and, try to collect some points here. This is a tough road trip coming off the break for our group. So wins are huge, and that was a big response for us in the third.
So a game the other night, Joe, where they did not get the result they were looking for against the St. Louis team that prior to that they have dominated so far this year. They are in the midst right now of a road trip that I think in a lot of ways is probably going to define where they go. It started actually in Minnesota. They got the win, then went on the Christmas break, picked it up in St. Louis. They get the win in Utah last night. So that's game number 3 of this road trip, and they're not done anytime soon. They got Vegas coming up tomorrow. They got Seattle on Thursday, Calgary Saturday, and Edmonton next Tuesday. So it's a long road trip. They're not back home until January the 8th. Against the New York Islanders, and they're playing throughout that stretch some pretty good teams. Vegas certainly coming up. You got Edmonton at the end of it. Seattle and Calgary kind of sandwiched in the middle are 2 teams that if the Predators are going to find a way to make some noise and make this interesting down the stretch, they need to win some of those games. But, we've talked about it. They're playing better hockey, and Stamkos in particular right now is playing great. Like he's got 11 goals this month. And he looks like Steven Stamkos. Like this is by far the best he's played in a Preds uniform.
Yeah, and it's like you see it, and it's like, how does that ever go away? And I know we've talked about it, that you have to, you have to give him in situations. You have to have someone who can get him the puck. But it's like old Stamkos. It's like what he is. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a goal scorer. And it's not like, like over the years, Forsberg will have these heaters and stuff. He's kind of a little bit. He's a streaky guy. I guess everybody is to some extent, or can be to some extent. But this just seems like just what he is. Is this what have they figured out? Like this for the rest of the year? Is he on his way to a huge season? And if so, what does that mean?
It started so slow for him that, I don't know that he's going to reach 35, 40 goals or anything like that. But, after I think he had 1 goal in his first 14 games, and now he's up to 17. Like he's climbed his way to 17 through 38 games. So right now he's on pace for 36 goals.
High 30s.
Yeah. So he's playing great right now. And look, they've needed it. They've needed him to play this way. O'Reilly continues to play really well. Forsberg's playing well. So, when your highly paid guys are playing well, this is what you get. And, I'm interested to see how much they can keep it up. If they run through this road trip and let's say they find a way to get a point tomorrow and they lose in overtime against Vegas and they do what they should do and take care of business against Seattle and Calgary, who are not very good. They're kind of right there with them, kind of below them in the standings right now. You win those games. If you come out of this in totality, what is a 7-game road trip with 4 or 5 wins? That's pretty good, man. And then I think you have to start asking the question of, well, what does that mean? when it comes to this playoff race. I mean, again, they get the win last night against Utah, so now they're only 1 point behind them. San Jose holds the last wild card spot right now. They're 3 points in front of you. You got a game in hand on them. Like all of a sudden, they have crept their way back into a playoff race.
Bye. Here we go. That scared me, by the way. It startled me. Yeah, here we go. The Preds making a run. Maybe add somebody at the deadline and get it rolling. I mean, look, I agree with like Buster here on the text line. Preds win or lose went from unwatchable to very watchable. And Trotzy isn't crazy as most thought. Yeah, well, this is important for him, and it also makes things really interesting. I agree with what Caleb said too. Although, I mean, it's easy, it's easy to sit here and say that, but it's like, why would Stamkos ever be on a line that doesn't include Ryan O'Reilly? Right? You watch it now, and it's like, of course that has to be. But they also they've had stretches where it wasn't working. So you have to remember that too.
I don't know what they've done that is getting him the puck. Well, I mean, some of it's him, right? Like some of it is, I think, and he talked about this after, I think, the Minnesota game. He's been used to, for so much of his career, especially like the latter half of his career, he hasn't had to, I guess for lack of a better term, get to the hard areas because he's had Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov doing the work and basically feeding him over there, and he's blasting it away. And we've seen it. Like, he's not lost his shot, right? Like, he'll still rip a couple, and it's like, yep, that's why he scored darn near 600 goals. By the way, he's at 599. He will become the 22nd player in the history of the league to hit the 600 mark, whether he does that tomorrow or at some point on this road trip. So pretty impressive stuff there. But, I mean, last night, he's right in the middle of the slot. The Minnesota game where he scored the game winner in overtime, it's a 2-on-1, but he's right in front of the net. Like, I think he's changed the way that he's kind of attacking a little bit. And I don't know that he's ever going to be like some huge net front guy, but he's changed up the way he's approaching it, and it's clearly working right now.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, you talk about creating space and opportunities. You're not going to get much better than that. So, yeah, good for him for adjusting. But I mean, like, I feel like, as we've talked about, like just Evangelista, the whole thing is just working really well.
And he had a goal last night too. So, I mean, I think he's been doing it for a long enough stretch at this point for me to say that Evangelista has found another gear.
Is underpaid?
Well, maybe so. But I mean, I think this level from him is what we've always kind of thought he had in him. I don't know that he's ever going to be, some 80, 90 point guy. But like right now, the way he's playing, he's probably a 55, 60 point guy. If he plays at this level for an entire year, that's pretty good. Like, you'll take that. So I think he's given them a spark. Obviously, when Forsberg gets going, and O'Reilly, I know if you ask him earlier in the year, he's had one good year in the history of the NHL.
Yeah.
He is playing probably right up there with the best hockey he's played as a member of the Predators, which then, I mean, the other thing this does, Joe, is it's like, well, okay, all these guys are playing really well right now, and they found their way back into the playoff race, and they're much more fun to watch, and all that's great. Also, it's like, well, you felt like maybe a few weeks ago that Stamkos was going to be untradeable, and now he's clearly not. Like, if he keeps playing like this, people will be calling about Steven Stamkos. Ryan O'Reilly, we know people are going to be calling about. So it's like, what do you do if you're Trotz? It's like, do you ride this out and see if you can make the wild card in the playoffs, or do you take advantage of these guys playing really well and sell them and get pretty good returns for them? That one's going to be interesting.
Get a call from Nick Saban. Barry would really like some home playoff games. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's real. Like, the business side of the organization would like home playoff games.
Their record since he took over, it's pretty good.
That is a good point.
I mean, took over is probably not the right word.
Yeah.
Their record since he joined the organization, pretty good.
Yeah. Getting at just all those Newt Rockney speeches is really working right now.
I think he sat down in a room and recorded some when he first got hired here. It's like, all right, and the hands get going.
You need to get off your ass, Luke Evangelista. Just put a different name each time.
I would love one time. There needs to be video of this. I hope it happens at some point, of him coming in there and doing the lineup card,
That'd be great.
of the starting lineup. We got Stammer. We got Factor. It would be awesome.
Juice.
That does need to happen. Absolutely needs to happen.
When they get Clark Lee in there doing it.
Sure.
Get Saban in there doing it.
Clark Lee's a better coach.
There's a hot 615-737-1025, our phone number. The Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode is coming up next. Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports will be with us at 8 o'clock. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Yeah, I worry about it all the time.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
We're gout free
Yeah.
on the program this morning.
Yeah.
Would you rather have foot pain, gout, or torn up stomach?
And also let me know if I'm going to die if I'm ripping my stomach lining by taking 3 Pepsids in 1 hour.
You guys, just all of you are so damn soft.
What'd you say, Hodor?
Hodor.
Door number 2. Here's a man. It's a quarterback. Hit him.
Kick this ass for a man, that's all. Kick my ass. Enjoy. Come on. I'm not asking, I'm telling with this. Kick my ass.
Well, I just want to apologize in advance for my performance today.
This is a low T alert.
I don't like all the sex, man.
It is time for the Rex Rant.
I knew that was coming.
Brought to you by Functional Medicine of Tennessee. Heal from the inside out. Check them out at functionalmedicineoftennessee.net.
I knew that last one was going to find its way in
I'm
there.
sure it will be a repeat offender.
Just for anyone who didn't listen, earlier I was referring to why I don't like Game of Thrones. It's the excessive sex and the excessive violence. Why do we have to have this stuff? Why does it have to be just so or you have to turn away at times?
The violence.
Why?
The violence stays. The sex part kind of goes away after the first season or two. It's not as bad. It's like a hook.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I tried to watch it with Katie. She loves it. I think she's watched it like multiple times. Like, you got issues, bro. But no, I know. No, I mean, I know people love the show. I don't like all the sex.
Keep adding to it.
Yeah, there we
Keep
go.
that file
I've
going.
already said it. It's already a drop. You may as well just keep saying it over and over again. I've got a lot of things I could complain about. We just had like a 2-week trip to Florida with my side of the family and Katie's side of the family, and shopping and driving and all this stuff. But you know what? I think I'm going to choose violence today, and I'm going to go back to Adam Sparks. And that's a great point, and I want to make the point. It's very simple. Tennessee fans, Diego Pavia would be one of your all-time favorite Vols if he did everything exactly the same in an orange uniform. I want somebody to seriously try to argue with me on this. I want you to really try to come out and say, oh, no, we would not tolerate that sort of behavior in Knoxville. I mean, it really is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, and yet it is out there. People actually claiming they wouldn't like Pavia because he's classless, because he said F all the voters. Oh, my God, what a crime against humanity.
Haven't you ranted about this?
But not that part, though.
Okay.
I know. But not that part. Not the part about the Vols fans, because I ranted about all the, Reese Davis. Oh, I'm glad he didn't. Shut up, man. But the Vols fans who, seriously, I mean, Sparks put it perfectly. If Vanderbilt fans can be like, this guy's amazing, then it is very simple. If you win, but also if you win and you piss off the opponents, then your fans love you double for that, and you would love him. Please argue with me.
I don't think you can. I mean, look, the baseball comparison I think is a perfect analogy here, right? Like, think back to the 2022 Tennessee team. I mean, think back to Tony Vitello in general, right? Like, it's a pretty good comparison. I know he's a coach. Pavi's a player, so it's different. But personality-wise, when Vanderbilt fans hated Tony Vitello, Tony Pavia. What a combination that would be. Tony Vitello. But can you imagine?
What if he adopted him?
Yeah, it's Tony Pavia.
Diego adopted Tony.
Might need to at some point. But most people around the country, I understand Vanderbilt's probably not a great example because they have Tim Corbin, so that's pretty good. But most teams around the country, if Tony Vitello was your coach, you'd be like, yep, that's pretty cool. I like that. That's good stuff. Same thing with Pavia, quarterback.
100%. And actually, it's a great way to flip it around, too. So Caleb says, well, he'll never be in an orange uniform, so fart him, LOL. And that's great. You should hate him. I totally hate your rival and all that. And you can, whatever somebody does, you can rip on that. But I'll flip it around. So, and Vanderbilt fans will get mad about this, but they're wrong on this, too. Tim Corbin and Tony Vitello, I almost said Pavia, are very, very different people, obviously.
Tony Corbin.
Yeah. And he actually probably should adopt him. But teach him some manners. No, but seriously, Tim Corbin is as class as it gets and all that stuff. Of course, he is. And it's a great program, and Vanderbilt fans are very proud of him. And they should be. And so when Vitello came in and all that stuff, it was Vanderbilt fans more than anybody who was like, they're ruining the game. You, Vanderbilt fans, would love Tony Vitello if he were your coach, too, by the way. Argue with me on that. You can't. None of you can argue with any of this.
I agree.
I rest my case. Someone made a great point. I think the loudest fan base about all this beyond Tennessee fans is Indiana fans, because Mendoza and what, they had the little thing that said F Indiana,
yeah,
right?
They did.
Someone made the point, I think it was on our text line. It was like these Indiana fans who were calling him classless for half a century defended Bobby Knight.
Well, there's that.
Oh, he's the general. He's got a lot of class. Yeah, I mean, seriously. It is very simple. It is if if your person is in your uniform and wins, then you're thumbs up. If your person wins and pisses off other people that you beat, it's way more intense of a love. And I'd love to see the alternative reality of Diego Pavia playing for the Vols.
It would. I mean, maybe he'll get some more eligibility transfer. Maybe that's Tennessee's quarterback solve for this offseason.
There you go.
We do have a Notre Dame fan that says, Notre Dame fan here, I can promise you we would not accept
Oh,
Pavia,
yeah.
Notre Dame.
Okay. Are you serious? Are you
Notre
seriously
Dame.
saying this? Are you seriously saying this? I mean, it's just I'm going to assume you're just trolling. I'm not going to take that comment seriously because I'm just assuming trolling.
By the way,
Notre Dame, we only have the finest gentlemen in the land. Shut up.
By the way, did you see Lincoln Riley yesterday talking about the Notre Dame stuff?
He's an
absolute
terrible.
idiot. Yeah.
Terrible.
Well, if Notre Dame was true to their word and wanted to play anytime, any place.
These coaches in college right now are so juvenile. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and the whole thing, and you had a good rant. I will say, like, after reading everything about it and hearing everything about it, like, I do blame both sides. I do.
Sure.
Like, I blame Notre Dame too. But yes, Lincoln Riley in
He's
particular,
a snake.
he's
Since when does it become cool for coaches to troll? Like, shouldn't we be adults setting good examples? And here they are just acting like a bunch of trolls out here for their kids and their college. Like, grow up a little bit.
I'm just glad Lincoln Riley talked because
ridiculous
earlier this year.
Yeah.
Thought that may not be a thing
yeah,
anymore.
no, not talking to media anymore. By the way, is he good? Is he that good of a coach, Lincoln Riley?
Not going very well.
Yeah.
Oklahoma seems fine.
They seem fine without him.
Yeah, seems like, not wanting to play Notre Dame kind of fits in with how he's doing as a coach at USC.
615-737.
I like how we turned this into a Lincoln Riley rip.
We did.
Yay!
615-737-1025, our phone number. Charles Robinson is with us. Coming up next, we'll get into the Titans, get into all things NFL with him. It is bowl season. The Game Nashville Sports Network, your home for college football bowl games, presented by Parman Tractor and Equipment and Twin Peaks. Today on Sports Talk 830, starting at 1 o'clock, it's Coastal Carolina versus Louisiana Tech in the Independence Bowl. And then on 102.5, the game following the Music City Bowl, it'll be USC, Big Lincoln Riley, taking on TCU in the Alamo Bowl. For a list of games carried on the Game Nashville Sports Network, visit thegamenashville.com/bowl games. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning. And we head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our friend Charles Robinson to the program from Yahoo Sports. Charles, hope you had a wonderful Christmas. How we doing? What's going on?
Doing well. Here to give Joe some more heartburn.
A lot of problems this morning.
Not possible. Maxed out.
Have you ever taken 3 Pepsid in an hour?
Eat some spicy chicken, and I'm old.
Just impressed that you're listening to our show in the first segment.
Yeah, I'm also old and can't sleep.
I knew there had to be some explanation.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing else I can do. I might as well listen to this show.
That may be the best endorsement for our program I've ever heard.
There's a drop. Let's save that one.
That'd be the best thing I've ever heard. I have nothing else to do, so why not?
Cure insomnia. Here we go.
Oh, boys. Yeah.
Charles,
doing this morning?
We're awesome. Even after the group text thread we had the other night watching Derrick Henry destroy the Green Bay Packers, I've somehow survived. I had to move through it. I do want to start there with you. Malik Willis, what do you think the opportunities are going to look like for him in terms of being a starting quarterback in the National Football League next year? What do you make of what he's done for himself in Green Bay?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to ignore. There's no doubt. And it's funny because a couple of days ago, or not a couple of days ago, it's probably about 10 days ago, I put together sort of a list of, the potential quarterback migration this offseason, looking at, okay, who are these guys that are going to be in play? And I sat there for a while, and I left Malik off the list. I think it was just because I was like, how long do I want to make this list? But I definitely regret that, because heading toward free agency, I think part of the question I had was, how much of an opportunity are we going to see him get through the remainder of the season? How is he going to look, in those opportunities? He's obviously looked fantastic. Matt LaFleur has, turned him over in a way that is shocking to me. I mean, this is the guy that I think was the debatable prospect, coming into the draft out of Liberty. There were some teams that really liked him. There were others that thought, this is a 6th or 7th round, quarterback prospect. Here's what I think is really interesting about this. I think he has played his way into, if you have a franchise out there who's sitting there and they're staring at a quarterback situation saying, we like to bring in somebody and, have a player to compete potentially for our job. I think he's now on that list. And now it depends what offense you run. And this is where I think it gets interesting. The offense that is being run in Green Bay is similar to the offense in some ways to the offense that's being run in Minnesota. And I think Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, he spent time in Cleveland, and I can tell you that, Andrew Berry, the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, he really liked Malik Willis coming into the draft. And it makes me curious, if Andrew really liked him, has Kwesi had a positive opinion of Malik Willis and just thought this is a guy that ultimately needs development? Because next season, it's hard for me to believe the Minnesota Vikings aren't going to bring in another quarterback this offseason and go, we need somebody to compete with J.J. McCarthy. We need, we would love J.J. McCarthy to be our starting quarterback. For all intents and purposes, we still believe we drafted this guy to be the cornerstone of our franchise. He's had flashes of doing that, but we have to bring in somebody to push him and potentially, win this job if JJ cannot make the strides and stay healthy that we need heading into the 2026 season. Now I wonder if Malik might be that guy. And if you're Malik Willis, I don't think you're going to have anybody out there who's just going to outright say, hey, you're our starter. Let's just turn over our team to you. I know I've seen some people kind of paint him into Pittsburgh with the Steelers. I just don't see anybody flat out handing him the keys. But I do see some teams potentially, looking at him and saying, we think you can be a competitive player we can bring in. And if you win the job, if you show that you've grown as a player and that what you've done under Matt LaFleur with the Packers, if this is real, we're more than happy being comfortable with you as our starting quarterback. I just think, Minnesota has sort of set itself up in that vein. I don't know that Minnesota wants to bring in when I say somebody to compete, I don't think they want to bring in somebody who's, 30 plus years. I don't think they want to go back to the Kirk Cousins at this stage of his career and have that be the alternative. I think they'd like to have a young quarterback who has some upside. I think that's part of why they really would have liked to have gotten Daniel Jones to return to their team this year. And just interesting enough, Daniel Jones probably would have won that job by the end of September. By mid-October, Daniel Jones was the starting quarterback of the Vikings. But Willis is really, I'm surprised because I never thought, even in the flashes that we saw prior to this with the Packers, I was like, how real is that? How sustainable is it? And I've been nothing but impressed when he's gotten his opportunities. Now, can he stay healthy? There's another question for you. But as far as like the arm, his ability to run, RPO schemes, clearly he's shown he can be that dual threat quarterback that some teams really thought he could be coming into the draft. He's been fantastic in Green Bay, and I'll say this: no matter what, he set himself up for. He's going to be a well-paid backup quarterback at the very least. But I think the ceiling now is looking a little bit higher. You guys got to be shocked, right?
Yeah.
This is a guy that, I remember being in practice, standing next to you, Joe, and Mike Grable was screaming at him about not just being slow, come on, fast, pick it up, fast, go, hurry up, get the snap off. I'm like, he can't even get the snap off. And then when he would get the snap off, I'm like, it's like an instant sack. He was running himself into sacks, looked like, he wasn't reading, defenses. He looked, his, clock was, once the snap was off, he looked way out of whack, it's way sped up. He was doing everything way too, out of sync with what was going on the field. And it's remarkable to me, the strides he's made in Green Bay.
No, me too. Yeah, he's one read and the eyes go down, and that was consistently a thing. He was better in that last camp, but still not. When they moved him, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And hopefully he can be a backup. And he is probably LaFleur's genius more than anything. But you got to give Malik a lot of credit. That's right, Robby. You got to give Malik a lot of credit for his own improvement too. It's pretty amazing. All right, another quarterback I want to ask you about, Lamar Jackson. This is it. It's pretty cool that we have this game. He's got to play here, right? And what are the stakes of this game beyond division winner? We've talked with you at different times about both of these coaches.
Sure.
Are there stakes to that degree? Possibly.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it matters for both Tomlin and Harbaugh here. And, with Lamar, we'll find out I think by Wednesday, we're going to have a pretty good idea. There's supposed to be an update from John Harbaugh by Wednesday on his health. It felt like it improved last week, so it's hard for me to see him sitting out this game knowing it's a play-in game. But, let's not forget, it wasn't that long ago that, he sat out a playoff game against Cincinnati, right? That was only a couple of years ago, and I never thought that would ultimately occur. The Lamar thing has just been, there's the panic button because of what gets written about him, obviously in the market there about, is he falling asleep in meetings? What are all these other things that he's doing that are showing some level of immaturity? And the Ravens want to see this ultimately change with him. I try to remind people, we've been at these lows with Lamar before. It was, a couple of years ago when he had the ankle injury down the stretch, and people were saying, is he purposely sitting out? How bad is this ankle injury? Is he purposely tanking just because he wants off the team? Is this tied to a contract extension? Then it happened with a knee injury a couple of years. I think it was 2023. It happened with a knee injury, and it's always, it turns into this Lamar doesn't want to be here. It seems like, or it's contract related, or he's holding out. It's not an injury, and a lot of this I think happens because of the fact that Lamar doesn't have an agent, and whenever someone sours on him in the franchise or there's frustration, that comes out and then there's no counter narrative unless Lamar wants to go to social media. And sometimes he's been direct with it. Sometimes he's been very cryptic with it, but he lacks the platform, frankly, that every other star in the NFL with an agent has. When an injury occurs, so let's say any guy's playing through an injury over the course of the season, that agent or someone else, whoever their point person is in their circle, is telling media members, hey, he's playing through something right now. He's got a hamstring injury. He's trying to get through this. Here are these other, things that he's dealing with. That never happens with Lamar. It's just like silence. So you start to hear the griping that comes out of the franchise, whether it's about his diet, his practice regimen. Oh, he's an insular player, particularly in the off season. He's not around the team a lot. He's not around teammates. And then you never hear the other side of it. So you're left to count on guessing, right? Maybe there's this person in his orbit who, has this little piece of information, or maybe Lamar will say something to you in a press conference. And it just looks horrible. And, I know the thing for Lamar is over the length of his career, there's not really been consequence because he's won MVPs on the field. So he's like, hey, I've won MVPs. Like, it can't be that bad. Oh, hey, look at my contract. I signed. I was the highest paid player in the NFL briefly when I did do my extension. So how did I lose in that respect? I'm playing the quarterback position, which maybe teams wanted me to show them if I could be a wide receiver going in the draft. I said, screw you. I'm going to use my own quarterback coach that, you don't know who he is. And I'm going to tell you, I'm only going to, work at quarterback. I'm a quarterback in the NFL. Everything's worked for him. He's sort of played his hand and he's won over the course of his career, but you keep running into these instances where it's like, he's not playing well. He's clearly been injured all season. And then it's, is he playing video games? Is it this? Is it that? Is it his diet? Is he just a big kid who can't, just be an adult and a professional at this point in his career? Oh, is it his body? He turns 29 next month. And I actually think that's real. He turns 29 next month. And I think the level of play, I think if you're the Ravens, you're scared because you're going, we really need to sign him to a contract extension. We need to work on this. But has he taken the amount of accrued hits now over the course of his career? Because he's sort of a pseudo running back quarterback where we're getting into that territory. There's a cliff coming. And Lamar wants a fully guaranteed contract. The union has kind of let that out the last couple of years that, hey, when Lamar does his next extension, he's going to push for like a Deshaun Watson fully guaranteed deal. If you're the Ravens, you don't want to give him that because you're like, is this season, is it an example of those accrued hits and the punishment he's taken? And are we going to be on the hook if 2026 comes around and it's that Cam Newton off the cliff year where you're like, oh no, he really might be done now. The depreciating asset of his running is now off the table, can't really be used consistently. And now, we have this player where what made him so dynamic is no longer, on the table necessarily. So I think there's some fear there too. But as you asked about the Steelers game, yeah, I mean, I think it has implications. I think if the Steelers lose that game and you bottom out, it can go one of two ways. They could blame the DK Metcalf suspension and say the league cut our knees out when we needed this player who we could have used at the end of that, Cleveland game in the red zone. It was glaring when you go to, Marquez, Valdez, Scantling 3 times and there's no DK Metcalf on the field. You effectively, you effectively destroy us. And then the flip side of that coin is just, this is what the Steelers were. This was the gambit they ran all season long. They pushed everything on to Aaron Rodgers. They've never really been a dynamic team. They've not really been consistent. And, how much more of this do you ultimately want to do with Mike Tomlin? I still think Tomlin would have to leave. I just don't see the Rooneys firing Mike Tomlin. I think you'd have to say, hey, I think it's time for a change. And then, you'd see that change. As far as the Ravens, I think Harbaugh's just a little more complicated because of how this is unfolded. And I personally believe it's more likely that they would go through 2026 with Harbaugh and Lamar. They take this one more year to kind of see where it goes because the team hasn't stopped fighting I think, for Harbaugh, and you saw that in the Green Bay game, right? Like if they come out and it's like the RV's running in the parking lot and they're just like, yeah, we're done. We're not going to fight, for this opportunity to get in the playoffs, then you're concerned. But then they came out against Green Bay and you're like, okay, this actually kind of seems like it's a dangerous team. Like now if they beat the Steelers in the finale and you look at the rest of the AFC, I don't know. I'll ask you guys. You saw that game. You saw how Derrick Henry played. If you get Lamar back in the fold and you win against the Steelers and Harbaugh steps in front of his team and he says, you know what, we were Super Bowl favorites before the season started. We were in that group. Forget everything that's happened before this. Like, it's done. That's gone. It's 0-0 now. We get to start fresh. And who scares us realistically in the AFC? Why couldn't we be the, 9-7 Giants in 2011 who run the table and go and win a Super Bowl? We can do that this year. That's the kind of year it is in the NFL. Do you guys think that's possible?
Yes,
I do.
100%.
Yeah.
You'd be right.
I totally agree with that. So speaking of the AFC, it felt like, Charles, it was pretty close, the MVP race between Stafford and Drake May, and then Stafford last night throws 3 picks. Rams aren't going to win in the division. So number one, has Drake May wrapped up MVP in your mind? And number two, how do you put into scope what Drake May has done this year in year 2, elevating his play and his team to the level in which he has?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, unfortunately, because of how every week, gambling has permeated the NFL, we get this kind of weekly, who's in the lead for the MVP? And I can tell, I can't say everybody operates like this, but I do feel like I have a vote for MVP. I know a number of the other voters. I think for the most part, everyone does not operate off of recency bias. Obviously, how a person finishes at the end matters. But I think people sit down and they look at the totality of the resume. They sit there and they go, okay, look, it's not just about the statistics. It's not just about the advanced analytics. Let's look at the quality wins that this player had over the course of the season. Let's see how they played in the big games that were needed over the course of the season. And so when Stafford has the night that he has, and, you listen to, the analysts in that game, Tirico and Collinsworth, there's this whole, like, he's an MVP candidate. And now he's throwing 3 interceptions, and Drake May had this monster game, through half of 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters or 2.5 quarters, and he throws 5 touchdowns. So does that mean, Drake May's in lead? I don't think voters really look at it that way, where it's just like, oh, it's so neck and neck. It seems that way because of the betting lines every week. Oh, this person slid up, this person slid down. I think it matters, obviously, the way Stafford played. I mean, he's, just to have him turn the ball over like that in a key game that they really, really needed, particularly coming off of what happened against Seattle. Now, he didn't have anything to do, Seattle, he balled out. It's not like he had anything to do with the mistakes in the Seattle game. It'll be put, I think, in the calculation ultimately. And I would say that the way Drake May has played down the stretch has certainly helped him considerably. But also, here's my thing: when you're going to sit down and you're going to look at Drake May and you're going to say, what he's done, is that so special in year 2, particularly when you go from last to first, playing for Mike Vrabel. And by the way, playing for Josh McDaniels is not easy. You look at the surrounding cast, not as good clearly as what Matt Stafford is dealing with in Los Angeles. Plus Stafford's got, McVay, who's had a lot of success with quarterbacks over the course of his career. Do you give Drake May some extra credit? That goes to, how each voter looks at this. I think it's about quality wins, though. When I sit here and I go, okay, let me see over the course of the Patriots season, their schedule, frankly, it's not the strongest schedule. Like, let's just be honest about that. Like, they've beaten, some teams throughout the year that are weak, have not been playoff caliber teams. Some of them look a little bit better now when you consider, like, okay, the Carolina Panthers are still in it. Obviously the Buffalo Bills are what they are, but like the Saints, the win over the Saints a month ago, you're like, That's not. There's something really impressive there. Now, it wasn't Tyler Shook, when you beat the Saints, but now that looks a little more impressive as the season's gone on because the Saints have been resilient. But look, when you're beating you're killing the Jets, right? No one is impressed with a Jets win at this stage of the season. I don't think anybody's impressed with a Giants win at this stage of the season. The Ravens win, like how much stock do you put in that? Even though the Ravens are still fighting to get into the playoffs. Whereas if you look at the Rams, NFC West is a bloodbath, right? I mean, it's just a very, very difficult division. The Rams have played a multitude of other difficult teams outside of their division. And so I think that really gets weighed into it. I can't call it now. I don't know. I mean, I don't really like to. I have a list of people I'm going to call throughout the league who have faced them, common opponents. The Falcons faced both. I think the Panthers faced them both. And I want to hear from some people in those organizations about what it's like to prepare for each of these guys and what they thought in terms of MVP caliber play, where they stand. But definitely stunning to kind of see what unfolded with the Rams, not only against the Seahawks, but then to spot a very mediocre Atlanta Falcons team, 21 points. I mean, when I watch Kirk Cousins now at this point, I'm like, man, it's a hard watch at times. And for the Rams defense to play the way that it did and Stafford to turn the ball over, at least for a portion of that game, is certainly more concerning than I thought. And by the way, wouldn't you guys, you're sitting there and you're going, how much do they have to play for? This is the 5th seed versus the 6th seed. You definitely want to be the 5th seed, right? Because you want to play the AFC South.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, NFC South winner, right? You absolutely want to play the NFC South winner and none of the top 3 seeds in the NFC.
Yeah, no doubt. I was pretty stunned by last night. So, Charles, the Raiders, quite a tank there from the front office. So, Tom Brady, along with being a mediocre, but better than Drew Brees, announcer, now gets to, I guess he gets to go draft a QB, huh? That Brady and Fernando Mendoza, a partnership made in heaven coming up here. And what's up with the tank and Max Crosby and all that crap?
How about you send Max Crosby home and you go, his knee's messed up, and then Max Crosby's like, here's me playing basketball. Let me go ahead and post.
Yeah, I'm squatting 800 pounds on these knees. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, only in the Raiders organization. It's certainly not a good look. I mean, Crosby really does need, knee surgery. So there's not going to be any, I've seen some people are like, hey, is there going to be some kind of league repercussions? It's clear they shut him down when he didn't want to be shut down. But I mean, look, he does need a knee cleanup. He needed it, I think, since October. There's been meniscus damage, and that gives the Raiders a solid leg to stand on. They can say now, if the Raiders go into the offseason and Max Crosby is instantaneously available via trade, then it's a little harder to argue. We're presuming for our future versus, hey, we're shutting him down because we want to get the top pick and then, deal Crosby in the off season. That's going to be, an ugly look. I still think, just knowing how Mark Davis operates, he really wants Crosby moving forward, but I think he also wants to not have to trade up to the number 1 slot in the draft if they see the quarterback they like, which I believe they must. They have to. I just don't see you operating this way if you're looking at the draft class and saying there's not, a quarterback there who we absolutely believe we can build around and is worthy of being taken number 1 overall. I would think that's Mendoza. I haven't, as I told you, Joe, when we were texting, I haven't taken a deep dive into these quarterbacks yet, and I still think there's a lot of separation that can take place in the draft process. Like Dante Moore is scary to me just because of the lack of I ever since Trey Lance was like the severe off, like it was so severe the number of games he had not played in college and in high school. But Dante Moore just, I feel like, needs another season of starts. In the very surface level conversations I've had with executives maybe over the last month, just texting back and forth on like Saturdays, I think there is a feel like, hey, it would be great if Dante Moore went back one more year and got another year under his belt. I think, though, the prevailing feeling is that he'll end up coming out, and some team's going to have to sit there, and maybe it's the Raiders, and say, okay, like how much more talented is he than Fernando Mendoza? And, what's Mendoza's ceiling? Is it Kirk Cousins? Like, if that says, I hate that comp, man. When I hear that, I'm like, this is not a guy I want to take at number one overall. When you're sitting there telling me he can be a Kirk Cousins player for me, that's not what I picture the number one, quarterback being in a draft. But, Brady was a guy that I think a lot of people thought had a limited ceiling even throughout his career. I mean, he was never a running quarterback. He's never going to be like an RPO guy. There wasn't a lot of sexiness to his game other than his ability to compete, lead players, make the right decisions. Well, that's a lot of what Mendoza brings to the table in Indiana. And it's certainly going to be interesting. And I mean, you guys, I focus so much on the NFL during the season. And I focus a lot more on the college stuff, particularly as it pertains to the draft once the season's over. You think Mendoza's clearing away the number one? Let's say Moore goes in the draft. You think Mendoza, there's no way Dante Moore can in the draft.
No, I don't think there's no way. I mean, that's exactly what happens during these things is people talk themselves into a higher ceiling. And so, no, I think it's possible. But, I mean, it seems right now like Mendoza is the consensus top guy. Yeah, he may be close to his ceiling.
And I'll ask you this. Remember, the Raiders, it's been classically a dysfunctional franchise, right? It's a place where you can ruin guys very easily. Like you're going in and things don't work for a multitude of reasons. To this day, I still believe had Jamarcus Russell gone somewhere else and gotten with the right general manager, the right head coach, someone who could be there when, things started to happen in his family and it affected him mentally, I still think Russell could have been a great NFL player. Instead, he went to the Raiders. Achilles Smith went to the Bengals. I mean, there's just guys where you're like, when you go into certain situations, it's gonna wreck them. Between Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza, you think Mendoza probably is the least wreckable, right, of the two to go into the Raiders situation, right? That's got to be the belief.
No, I would totally agree. Totally agree with that. Charles, Happy New Year to you. By the time we talk to you next, we'll be deep into Titans head coaching search mode. So prepare yourself for that. Very much looking forward to it.
Draft and off season. Joe, stay away from the spicy chicken. Ian, congratulations on the fantasy football win.
Thank you, Charles.
And you guys can count on me listening to the show every time I sleep 2 hours a night.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about.
We'll take
Good
it.
stuff.
We'll take it.
Thank you, Charles.
All right, guys. Have a happy New Year.
You as well.
You too.
Charles Robinson, our guest on Robby and Rexrode. Lots to react to there. We'll do that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. College football game of the week is number 10 Miami taking on number 2 Ohio State in the college football playoff. Catch all the action on 102.5 The Game tomorrow night at 6:30. Coverage presented by Circus Sportsbook Kentucky and also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. Appreciate Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports for being with us in the last segment. A lot of stuff going on in the NFL right now. The Pittsburgh-Baltimore outcome going to be very interesting here. Yes, for the winning team and what they could do heading into playoffs. But for the loser, when you miss out on the playoffs, what happens with that coach at that point? You heard Charles say there that he still doubts that Pittsburgh would actually fire Mike Tomlin, but could there be, a parting of ways? Could Mike Tomlin decide it's time to head somewhere else at some point after nearly 20 years there? You have to throw that out there. And then Harbaugh, like what's going on with him? Like if they end up missing the playoffs, what does the future look like with Harbaugh? I tend to agree that I'd probably expect Harbaugh to be there at least one more year and then see how it goes with him and Lamar again together. But you never know in this league. So the loser of that game, going to be a lot of eyeballs on what happens with their coach after that.
Yeah. I still think it's unlikely that either guy goes somewhere else or is let go or is or agrees to leave, whatever, it would be however the divorce would technically go. I have my doubts. And I think maybe I actually think it's more likely with Tomlin just in terms of, maybe like again for him, it's like fresh start actually makes sense, even though he's in the most stable and as storied a franchise as there is. I could see that. I think it absolutely makes sense that Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson would have another year. See if you can keep it healthy. See if you can get it going. But also, I think the concerns about that health are very real, and that's a real thing. I mean, if he isn't going to be that level of threat, and you're just trying to keep him in the pocket, it's just he's so much obviously just so much less of a weapon. So I think that's interesting. Also, I agree that the Ravens are, if they win this game, man, and like Lamar comes back and plays and he's okay, the Ravens are the Ravens and Bills both. I look at them both wild card teams, and it's like I think one of them is going to go to the Super Bowl.
Maybe. I mean, the Ravens defense is atrocious, so there is that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big problem that they have.
They're kind of feast or famine.
Yeah.
They do make plays. They have a great player in Hamilton, but yeah, it's certainly not
Lamar's going to play. We think this week.
Well, I mean, I can't. I'd be shocked if he doesn't try.
Yeah,
be shocked.
Yeah, you would think he'd try.
Yeah,
I
mean, it sounds terrible, like a deep contusion in your back.
Does not sound.
You don't want. It certainly doesn't sound like a game you'd want to run a lot.
But again, like now, like I agree with you that if whoever the 5 seed ends up being, if you look around and it's like, oh great, we get to play the Ravens, like that doesn't sound fun. But also, like right now, the 5 seed is Houston, and the 4, whether it's Baltimore or Pittsburgh, they're probably like, yeah, I don't really love the idea of playing against that defense either. So I don't know. Like it's going to be like it conceivably it could be. I don't think it'll be this way because I think Houston's probably going to win and get that 5 seed. The Chargers are sitting Herbert against Denver. They're probably going to lose, which means they'll probably drop down to the 7. Buffalo, we'll see what they do with Allen. He had the x-ray on the foot this week, but what are they going to do when it comes to who they play and who they don't play this week? But it could be, Buffalo versus Baltimore in the first round, conceivably, if the Ravens win and Buffalo bumps up to the 5, like if Riley Leonard sneaks up and beats Houston or something like that.
It's like the best game of the entire playoffs is right there. You talk about Houston. So obviously we've been talking about them earlier in the show. Great defense, really dangerous team. But see, Baltimore, when it's operating its offense, that is the antidote to what Houston does, right? You got 2 people you have to worry about running the ball, and then you can rush Lamar Jackson all you want. He can do. I mean, like that's the type of team that would make that defense look bad, whereas traditional offenses have had very little success against it.
Yep. Hair Metal Henry says, I'd be willing to give a year's salary for Mike Tomlin to leave Pittsburgh, come to Tennessee, only to have him give Kuharski the death stare in a press conference. And I say that loving Paul. This is from Hair Metal Henry.
Yeah,
I mean, there would be some potential for magic there with Kuharski and Tomlin for sure.
There would be. By the way, what's Kuharski? We can ask him tomorrow. This weird, like he keeps tweeting like Mike McCoy's awful and he needs to be fired. It's like, dude, calm down. You really think he's getting the job or something? He keeps tweeting about Mike McCoy. What is his deal?
I don't know.
Also,
they're playing good football right
Speaking of Magic, did you see the Vrabel clip that
No.
people are? Oh yeah, it's like when they're up 35-3.
Oh yeah.
He's like, fart him.
Yeah.
Says about the Jets, fart him. And Drake May's like, oh my goodness, what did he say? Oh my goodness, what did he say? He has issues with class.
Well, I watched some of that game, and I think had they wanted to, Drake May could have thrown 9 touchdowns in that game if they kept him in the whole time.
That's a good way to jump ahead in the MVP race. Have that, and then have Stafford do what he did.
Yeah.
In the last game. So yeah. Real quick, I do want to bring this point up, just to go back to the rant, because like Mark, someone brought up like, yeah, I'll take Pavia and Aaron Hernandez, and like going through all these like criminals, and Mark H is like, well, I mean, this guy with I want to make sure I have the my brain is shutting off right now, if you guys can't tell. I have the term, the guy with off the field issues, like, he said F the voters. It was a bad look. That does not constitute off the field issues. He should not be lumped in with criminals and murderers.
Now, his brothers would qualify as off the field issues.
Yeah, I mean, his brothers got
running
trouble
from the police.
Sure. Yeah,
that would qualify.
I mean, we want to go around to everybody in sports and see if everybody in their family has a clean criminal record.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun exercise.
I did see the video. I hadn't seen it in a while of Baker Mayfield when he was in college getting absolutely spiked on the sidewalk by the police.
Yeah.
I saw that was back on the feed the other day. That was fun.
There you go. Off the
Wow,
field
he got hit
issues.
really hard. That head went right on the concrete. He's all right, though.
There's also that video of him dancing, which is really great.
Yeah, that's good stuff. 615-737-1025, our phone number. A lot of your thoughts to get to on the text line. We will do that coming up next. Take more of your thoughts on our text line. Join us at T-Line at 106 Duluth Avenue in Nashville tomorrow for a Vanderbilt football watch party as they take on Iowa in the ReliaQuest Bowl at 11 a.m. Great food, prizes, and plenty of fun while you cheer on the Commodores. That's tomorrow at T-Line in Nashville. Anchor down. Vanderbilt football watch party coming up tomorrow. We'll see if they can close out the Diego Pavia era in style, taking on what everybody loves to watch, the Iowa Hawkeyes. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe, one texter says, do you think the Titans are likely to target the boring offensive coordinator / defensive coordinator candidates, or will they wait for perhaps a surprise exit from Tomlin and try to make a splash? What should you be hoping for as a Titans fan?
Well, the Tomlin thing, if it were to happen, I think the only way that happens is if they lose this week. Anyways, you're not waiting long.
I would assume.
So you're gonna lose this week and you're out, and there you go. So I think if they win and they go in, it's just I think that makes it less likely, right?
Yes.
And I think you're if there is a wait on Tomlin or Harbaugh, I'm not waiting. If I'm another team, I'm not holding my breath.
Well, no, and I would assume that the Titans process is going to, I mean, number one, it's been started, but officially when this thing wraps up on Sunday, come Monday morning, it's time to go, right? Like it's time to go find your coach. And, you know, I know they've been working on what their strategy is going to be, I'm sure, for months at this point in terms of their interviews and narrowing that stuff down and what that's going to look like. There's a piece that Dan Pompei put together that I'm sure we'll get to tomorrow on the Matt Nagy part of this and the connection with Mike Borgonzi and all those things. So, you know, how long are you waiting? First off, as I've said multiple times, if a John Harbaugh or a Mike Tomlin become available, I don't know how high up the list the Tennessee Titans job is going to be for them. I don't think very high. Now, unless one of them just look at Cam Ward and it's just like, well, that's it. That's my ticket to a Super Bowl right there.
Yeah. And I just, that's not a reasonable opinion to have. Again, not saying Cam Ward can't work out, can't turn into a good quarterback, but I don't think anybody's going to look at this year and say, oh, absolutely, hitching my wagon to that. I think you have an open mind, but there are going to be more attractive jobs in all likelihood that are out there. One of them would not be the Raiders, in my opinion, but hey, Tom Brady, you know,
maybe he'll coach.
Yeah, he was a really
Could you
good,
be an owner,
a really
coach,
good player,
and a broadcaster all at the same time?
Yeah, maybe. GM.
I mean, I feel like
Clone
he's
himself
probably
again.
kind of that anyway.
Head scout.
Yeah.
That's
That's a good point. You know, he's been cloning dogs. So does he clone himself?
Oh, it's like that. What was that movie? Multiplicity. Was that like Michael Keaton? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Tom Brady brings it to real life. Amazing thought. I had a thought and it's gone.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'm actually pretty excited that I didn't completely screw the show up, though.
I am too.
Yeah, pretty shocking.
Austin says, it's sad that the Patriots may win another Super Bowl. Really don't see a team healthy that's better than they are. It makes me wonder why Amy just didn't let him do what he wanted to do for one more year just to see what would happen.
Well, there's going to be a lot of, holy crap, Amy. I think there already has been. And in the future, there will be more of, good God, why did you fire Vrabel? That was my point, by the way. Thank you, Austin, for bringing it up. So I did not see the piece. Jonathan Jones wrote something about Amy Armstrong. I did not see the piece. I saw something on social media, which I think probably was related to it. And I think it's basically like potential coaches are wary of.
I don't think there's anything about that report that isn't what.
Did you read it?
Yeah. I mean, it's about her reputation isn't the greatest with everybody she's fired. I don't think that's news to anyone.
No, that's really not breaking news. I mean, that's a problem. It is a problem for the Titans. If they're in a battle for a particular candidate that they like a lot, the questions about ownership, absolutely. How would you not have those questions if you're a coaching candidate or if you're the agent of that coach? You'd have major questions about that, and you're never going to get answers. But it's a risk. It's more of a risk because of her. So that's reality, and that's where you mentioned the Pompei piece on Nagy. We'll get into that tomorrow, but that's where someone like that who at least has a relationship with your front office, maybe that takes away a little bit of that, minimizes the concerns because at least you feel good about who you'll be working with. And if you have it's like, look, me and you real talk, like she's letting us run it, so let's go. Then, that's the kind of stuff you can have if you have a relationship. Whereas if you're just a coach applying for the job, you can't, of course they're going to tell you what you want to hear, but can you believe it?
I saw the updated odds again the other day, betting odds for the next Titans coach. Matt Nagy's still at the top. McCarthy's still number 2. We'll see how it goes.
I feel like McCarthy, that's another thing too. It's like McCarthy in the in the NFL reporters when they're listing things, no one ever lists McCarthy.
I know,
but he's
but
listed.
he's number 2 on the odds.
2 in Vegas.
Yeah.
So who's right?
It's a good question.
Vegas is just because it makes sense, so people will bet on it, right?
Yeah.
So that's why he's there.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that Vegas knows a damn thing, because Vegas is always right is actually one of the dumbest things ever said.
They are right often, though, because they get a lot
Well,
of
they
lot of
win.
buildings.
The house wins.
Yeah.
But that's because they get people to bet stupid crap.
That is true. Music City Bowl coming up this afternoon, Joe. Tennessee taking on Illinois. I'm interested to see if Tennessee's defense can make like 4 stops in this game. See if that happens or not. The secondary would be concerning. What is the most interesting thing you're looking for between Tennessee and Illinois today?
Yeah, look, we mentioned, I think those young receivers, like Travis Smith is a guy who I think there's some real excitement there. You want to see those guys make some plays. And some of the young DBs, I mean, I think that's it. To me, it's young players. But you want to win. I think it's really important. I think it's a really important game for Josh Heupel to go out with a win, with a good feeling, which would be, by the way, his best win of the season. This would be their clear best win of the season, beating Illinois.
Yep.
And I think that it's a bowl game. We know what bowl games are now. You know, there's some limitations, but it doesn't mean they're not important, especially I think if a fan base is a little bit irritated with a coach, this would be a big deal for him to get this win, I think.
I think so, too. We'll see if he's equipped to do it. Some young wide receivers going to be out there. A lot of freshmen at corner, which could be interesting in this game. We'll see how that goes. And then tomorrow we get some college football playoff games starting. So big couple of days of college football coming up.
It is beautiful. And we get Kuharski.
We do. Happy birthday to you.
I hate Mike McCoy so much.
Looking forward to Kuharski being in with us tomorrow. That does it for us today. Hope everybody has a great rest of their day. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.